entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Pills, pills, pills. Who's got the pills? Purple pill, blue pill, white pill, your mom pill, black pill, green pill. I think there's a gold pill too. But I've had enough pills. Red pill ideology, red pill praxeology. We'll talk about that today. Sorry about the echo. My bad. But first, I'm going to dig into something a little bit strange. Oh, yes. Yes, we are.
Dear woman, we stand before you today as men committed to becoming more conscious in every way.
We feel deep love, great respect, and a growing sense of worship for the gifts of the feminine. We also feel deep sorrow about the destructive actions of the unconscious masculine in the past and present.
We want to apologize and make amends for those actions today so that we can move forward together into a new era of co-creation. As I become more conscious, I grow more aware of the play of masculine and feminine energy in me, in you, and in all of life. I know that we all have access to the full spectrum of these energies. I also have a growing awareness of the dimension beyond all dualities, free and open like the sky.
I commit to owning and stewarding a masculinity that honors and celebrates us as equals.
I know that in order to truly honor you as a multidimensional woman,
I must stand fully present with myself and own the gifts I have to share with you.
When you're strange and sensitive, they have compassion, have the highest respect for women.
You're a virgin.
That's private.
How do you like that? I'm back. Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's been a week. I leave you guys alone for 1 week. For 1 week. And now I have to address this white pill thing. Okay. All right. If I must. Yeah. Well, the reason I picked that out, like, okay, so a lot of guys are saying, well, what's the white pill? Like, okay, you have Google, man. You have like the most advanced search engine in human history. You can go find out, man. It's not hard to do. And like most other quote unquote pills, whatever you want to call them, there's a lot of misinformation. A lot of guys. It's a new grift. Let's just put it that way. Okay, we'll come back to why that is. And a lot of people are going to say, I got like one of the first comments in the thread here. And yes, I watch them from the very beginning. Is this going to be about you inserting your values and your morals and your judgment? No, it's not. It's going to be me like having an obligation to objective truth. Let's just call it that. How about we just go with that? The reason why I am going on with this one in mind is actually I've had this in the can for a little while. I knew I was going to do this particular topic for a while now. I had actually the Ned Flanders. I had the Ned Flanders thumbnail in the can for a long time, and I thought, you know what, let's use that one today. So yeah. What is the white pill? We're going to talk about what is the white pill. What is the purple pill? What is the blue pill? What is the red pill? What is what pills? Everybody's got the pills. Your mom pill, right? I don't know. Gold pill, right? The green pill. Isn't the money? Is that the money pill? The crypto pill is a green pill. I guess. I don't know. What's the gold pill? A gold pill is something else? Who knows? Oh, Sam, thank you. I see you in there. Thank you. You don't have to respond to me in text now. so I'm looking at this, and I had some people send me a bunch of videos. Actually, I think it's as far back as like last year even. And people are saying, "Oh yeah, these white pill guys, they're doing a breakdown of your videos, or they're doing a breakdown of your book." And as you might guess, everything they do is pretty much, you know, misinterpreted or taken out of context, as you might guess. A couple of things on the agenda really quickly though. I have a new clips channel. I want to say that right here from the beginning. I put the link in it's the very first link in the description right now. So you guys can actually see some clips once I and my crew, my new staff here, there's a lot of changes going on here at the Rational Male. We are putting together a full clips channel, because that is the number one most requested thing as far as this channel is concerned. I always said I was going to do this. I did when but I mentioned I was going to do it once I passed 100,000 subs. I'm well past that now. I'm at 120. Thank you guys very much for that. I got my little silver plaque over here, and I should probably put it up in the background, huh? Except it'll reflect. So that's number one. There's a new clips channel. If you haven't subscribed to it, go ahead and subscribe to it now, or whenever you get a chance, right after this video, that'd be fine too. But that's going to be the short form stuff. They probably won't be much more than, I don't know, maybe 10-minute videos. What's the standard length these days? A little more digestible. It'll be the digestible footnotes version of the Rational Male podcast. I'm still doing my long form shows. Obviously, that's today's show, always at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. I am still doing my Wednesday show. I did a show with Kevin Savo on Wednesday. I think we didn't even go for 2 hours on that one, but I am working with Kevin. We're doing some very creative stuff. And here's the other announcement. This is number two. Number two is the second episode of of Save-A-Ho. I can't call it the other thing now. Of Save-A-Ho is coming out this week. You will see that go live, I believe, maybe tomorrow. So watch watch this channel because I will probably put it in my announcements. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll announce it there. You'll be able to figure out where it is. If you haven't followed Kevin Savo's channel, go ahead and do that right now. But that is episode 2 is the one that I have the cameo in. You'll be able to see the full 2 minute and 20-second clip of me being a bad guy. I'm Mike from Breaking Bad in that one. And we got a lot of other real interesting stuff, coming up with respect to that. If you haven't already picked up on the Thought Mommies in the Club video, please go pick that up. I always get a grin whenever I throw that one out there now because, I did a cameo in it, and so I feel kind of like a connection with it. But, Ryan, thank you, Ryan. Ryan, are you going to come? You should come in if you want to later on. I gave you the invite link. I pray one day some silly movement will not steal our metaphors and come up with something original. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. I'll tell you what's funny. And let me just finish up here. Go ahead and check out the Thought Mommies in the Club. You can pick it up on Spotify. Go and bump that out of your speakers in your car or wherever. And you'll be helping out Kevin by doing so, and you'll be helping out the projects that we're working on together. I am a producer for Kevin right now, but that doesn't mean I couldn't use some help producing. So a lot of the stuff and a lot of the money and the things that I am sort of collecting right now, I want to do something with it. I view money as currency. And I don't mean that as, it's currency. No, I mean like an electrical current. It's like something that's an energy that you can use to create and do other things, like an electrical current, right? So take that currency and I want to put it towards something that I think is worthwhile from a red pill perspective. And I definitely think that that Kevin's projects are well worth that. So if you haven't followed Kevin, if you don't know who he is, go ahead and watch that episode that was on Wednesday of last week. So and get more details from that as well. But I'm really I'm excited for the for episode 2. He's already they're taking a week off and they're going right back into episode 3. Yes, there's going to be other cameos, not me, but there's going to be other cameos. So stay tuned and watch that as well. And no, not yet, maybe, possibly. But I do know I want to congratulate Fresh on his new Lambo, or is he McLaren or a Lambo? He just got a new supercar, and he did a whole video of that. I was kind of impressed considering that he was renting a car to pick me up in January when I went out to Miami for the first time. So it's pretty great. So anyways, I wanted to dig into the white pill. In fact, you know what? Let me push that back up here really quickly. Ryan here, of course, is watching. Thank you, Ryan. You have the invite if you want to come in later on. Yeah, I think what's interesting about this is just like anything else, the white pill is something that is it's weird to me that we have to have like these pill metaphors for everything right now. Now I can show you the posts on SoSuave as far back as 2003, 2004, somewhere around there, where we started referring to making matrix references, and we called it unplugging for a while. It wasn't so much like, oh, you're a beta, you're a simp. You know, the vernacular, I guess, has changed over the course of the manosphere history. It wasn't even called, there wasn't even a manosphere back then. It was just guys in the seduction community. And even then we didn't really call it the seduction community. It was just like, what forum are you on? Are you on SoSuave? Are you on Alt Fast Seduction? Or what are you, Mystery Method? Or what is it, the Venusian Arts? Are you in the Venusian Arts forum? And so we didn't call it those things. We didn't really even make the red pill reference up until right about 2000. I'm going to say 2004. And you got to remember that I've been in what we now call the manosphere for almost 20 years now. And next year it'll be 20 years. My blog, therationalmale.com, will celebrate a 10-year anniversary this month well, today's August 1st. So on August 19th was when I started it of 2011. So I'll be having, I don't know, I'll make a big deal out of it on that day. But I've been doing my blog alone just for 10 years now. And so when people joke with you and they say, oh, Rollo's got an article for everything. Yeah, because I've been doing this a very long time. And I've seen these things come in cycles. And this is another one of those cycles. So when we talk about the blue pill and the red pill, really all we were talking about back in the day was the guys who were sort of plugged into this understanding of intersexual dynamics and how things are supposed to go, and this old order understanding of men and women and how things should work. Right. This was the first set of books. And then there was the second set of books. The second set of books, the first set of rules, let's just say. I have an essay called The Second Set of Books, but really they're rules. And the things that should work, the things we were taught. Captain Capitalism, Aaron Clary has a very great article, and he asked me to promote it, and I was looking at it, and I thought, well, let me read this real quick. I guess he had a conversation with Thinking Ape, and they were talking about the differences between, say, Gen X, the millennials, and Gen Z with respect to the red pill. And one of the things he brought up in this, and I'll put the I'll put the URL here in the chat, and then later on I'll put it in the description so you know what I'm talking about. It's really good. It was on July 29th is when it came out, and it was a really kind of thought-provoking analysis here. Is that and millennials to an extent, but certainly not my generation, Cappy's generation as well. We were lied to. And maybe not maliciously, but we believed in a set of rules or an old order way of thinking with respect to intersexual dynamics. You can apply that to other aspects. Now, this is the rational male, and we talk about intersexual dynamics. So when I talk about the red pill, I'm talking about intersexual dynamics. The things, the nature of men, the nature of women, there's so much to get into when it comes to the red pill that it's kind of hard to, again, there's no elevator pitch for it. But with respect to guys living sort of in this old order paradigm and this old order way of thinking, which what we used to call the blue pill, right? The blue pill is sort of the reference is drawn from the Matrix movies, okay? And just so if you haven't watched the Matrix movies, youngins, go and watch, at the very least, watch the first one. Some people really don't like the second and the third. I like the whole thing, but I think there's a lot of valuable sort of metaphorical analogous, I guess that's it, lessons to be learned from that movie. But primarily what a lot of people did is they took the metaphor, the analogy, let's just say, of the red pill and the blue pill to represent this old way of thinking, or this old sort of trap, like the Matrix. You're locked in the Matrix, and now that you have this information and you have this aggregate of men's experience with women, and you're seeing guys out in the field doing really what amount to like socio-psychological experimentation that formal psychology and formal sociology couldn't do for ethical reasons. But you have PUAs and you have guys in the seduction community doing these experiments and then comparing notes with everybody worldwide. So what had happened at that time was guys were saying, well, there's these guys, we didn't even call them betas then, we were calling them AFCs, average frustrated chumps. Okay. These were the guys who just didn't get it. They're still plugged in to the matrix. So the red pill became sort of this, this analogy, this very useful analogy, certainly at the time it was, to say you're still kind of locked in this old school, old order way of thinking about women, where the real rule book is this. And that's why I made the comparison between the old order and the new order, or the old set of rules versus the new set of rules. And I'm still having to explain that to certainly millennials, certainly sort of late blooming Gen Xers. But even Gen Z right now is still, they don't realize that they are still kind of locked into an old order way of thinking, because the social order in which they are sort of operate, their operative state right there, is still functioning according to old order mythology, because it helps keep those guys sort of in line. But what Aaron Clarey and Thinking Ape were talking about is that this generation, and certainly my generation, the millennial generation, and also the Generation Z, we have access to information on a scale that we've never had before. This was something that I put in the very introduction, or first, actually the very first chapters of my fourth book, Religion. And which, by the way, is we will have that read and out and available by September, by the beginning of September. I've already got it in production. It's already halfway done. I've already got the samples. So, and I mean it this time. So there's your update for that. But in the book, I talk about how in no other time, in no other era of human history have we had access to the kind of data that we have right now. And that book, this book right here, where'd it go? There it is. This book right here, which is my fourth book, see, is a result of that. I'm not a sociologist. I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'm not even an evolutionary psychologist. I've got a BA in psychology and in behavioral psychology. I'm a lay person, let's just say, when it comes to this kind of stuff. I just have a very keen interest in all of this, and have been doing so for like on 20 years now. So when I talk about things like sociology, anthropology, even genetics, right? Evolution, EvoBio, EvoPsych, all this other stuff. It comes as a result of having access to that information that, like, people in generations before me would have to spend hours in a library or have the encyclopedia or have such a keen interest. And it would have to be so focused on and particular and specified in one particular area that coalescing all of that together would have been impossible, but we can do that now. And so what Cappy and Thinking Ape were talking about was that this Generation Z, haven't been lied to, and I'm using that metaphorically, haven't been lied to or haven't been plugged in the same way that generations that came before them were, because of the internet, because we have access to information. We have this global consortium of information in this database, at least of 20 years that I know of, that is available to these guys, to this generation of, let's just say, 20 to 30 year olds right now. I don't even know what Z really is. It might even be teens right now, 18 to 28. Let's just say that. So you have access like never before, and you have no excuse. You have no excuse for saying, well, we've been lied to, whatever. And I think that a lot of guys are, a lot of men, certainly young men in that generation, and most young women, I would say as well, realize that. They understand that. They just simply don't know how to parse that information. They don't know how to interpret it and read it, because they're busy doing what, an 18 to 28-year-old does. So when we look at stuff like this, and when we see like the pill movements, right? The blue pill, the black pill, the red pill, the white pill, the gold pill, the this pill, the whatever pill, they're still hearkening back to that comparison that we made way back in 2002, when most of these guys were probably still watching Disney Channel or Hannah Montana or whatever, at that time, right? They were watching Nickelodeon. They were watching Phineas and Ferb, whatever it was going on back then. And Now they're adults, and now they have no real excuse to say, well, we didn't know this. We didn't know that we didn't know about hypergamy. We didn't know about the soulmate myth. We didn't know about this kind of stuff. And the problem I have right now is a lot of it gets misinterpreted, because what happens is you get guys who are so locked in and so clinging, like a security blanket, clinging to this ideological belief set, that they have to force fit empirical data that the red pill presents them with into that belief set. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. I've covered that in depth in book 4. And so today's going to get we're going to get a little bit video heavy here in a little bit. But if you haven't read book 4, I'm going to reference some material from book 4 here today as well. Red Pill Mike, thanks for that $100 donation, my friend. You are on it with every podcast. Red Pill Mike, thanks for this. Just try harder ultimately results in you looking like a tryhard. Yes. Desperate and unattractive to the opposite sex. I'd be willing to bet most men recall following said advice, and the result was always blew up in their face. Thank you for addressing this topic. Horns up. There. Okay. You want that too? There you go. There you got the $100 Don DeMarco. Yes, exactly. And this is a good example of what I'm saying, is that when you are taught the old order way of thinking, the old order way that things ought to have worked, what you're doing is you're putting yourself back into sort of that blue pill understanding. Now, sometimes, like when I did the show about how I was comparing Mike Rashid to a blue pill alpha. All right. The blue pill is still very much in effect today. It is the default setting when you come out of the womb. It is the default setting in a gynocentric social order. The blue pill is, if anything, it is on a higher frequency right now. It is intensified right now, because the gynocentric social order requires men to be ignorant. It requires, and I'm not calling anybody dumb, I'm just saying it requires you to be unaware, okay, of what the red pill shows guys as far as empirical, understandable, objective data, stats, whatever, about red pill ideas, right? Ideas. I didn't say ideology. I said ideas. Red pill concepts, red pill dots that have been connected together. I've said and if you've read my very first book, there's a chapter in there called The Threat. And the threat is this: that there's nothing that is more threatening, yet simultaneously as more attractive to women, than a man who understands his own value to women. And when you look at the popularity of shows like Fresh and Fit, for right now, just for example, there's other ones as well, but for Fresh and Fit, what that is, the reason why that is so threatening, and the reason why a lot of people are saying that they need to be careful because they're going to get canceled or whatever else, is because of the threat that I wrote about way back in 2013. Women are very attracted to guys who understand that they are valuable, that they are the prize. They understand that they are high value men, and women hate that, but at the same time, they love that. It's like a love-hate relationship. They love the fact that this guy's high value. He's, you can call cockiness arrogance, but the guy is, or you can call it confidence, whatever you want to call it. It's only like by order of degree as to like what you find attractive and what you don't find, what's arrogant and what's confident. But the fact of the matter is the guy who understands that he ultimately is going to have more value and can build himself up into something over the long term, whereas women's sexual market value, women's agency, women's power, let's just say, is very temporal. It's very very perishable, and women understand that there is a timestamp. There's an expiration date on that. For men, there doesn't have to be one. But if we can keep men ignorant of that and keep them locked into blue pill thinking, then at the right time, once women have been able to optimize or maximize the short period of time that they have in their sexual selection process, we need dumb guys, and I mean dumb in the sense that they're unaware of the game at a particular time, that the right guy in the right place at the right time, who is just ignorant enough to commit to them. Just ignorant enough to lock themselves into all of this fantasy world, this blue pill fantasy. But that's what teaches them to be that guy ready at that time. That's what the blue pill is. It's a conditioning. You'll always hear me say blue pill conditioning. It's a psychological conditioning that takes place over the course of a lifetime. And the reason why it's so kind of like, for lack of a better term, insidious is because it's promoted in a society without the people who are promoting it really being aware of themselves promoting it. People that say this all the time say, well, don't you know that feminism is Marxism or it's communism, or look in the schools, or why are we raising our boys as if they're defective girls? Do you think that the teachers in the schools who are raising our boys as defective girls, do you think that they know that they're doing that? Do you think that they realize, oh, it's fiendish plot, right? We're going to train all these boys to be, transgendered little girls. No, they just think that that's the right thing to do. It's what everyone's doing. It's the zeitgeist, right? It's what everyone's doing. It's not like some fiendish plot. So when people say, well, don't you realize it's the Rockefellers behind the feminism movement, or don't you think it's the Marxists and this? Yeah, I'm sure that opportunistic Marxism or opportunistic socialism or whatever certainly sees that element in women's psyches and exploits that for sure. But do I think that there's some evil, fiendish cabal of, feminists behind the scenes pulling the strings or whatever? No, because there doesn't need to be. We'll do it on our own. That's the thing, is we'll do it on our own. Given the resources, given the permission, given the agency to do so, and particularly in a gynocentric social order, yes, of course they will do that. That's the default. Communitarianism. You get power, social power, economic power. You give political power to women. That's what they default to. Communitarianism, because that's the evolved default. Women tend to be more communitarian. I'm not saying it's wrong or it's right, and can certainly be exploited for sure, but that's what it is. What are you going to do with it? Well, that's kind of up to you. And that's really where I come back into this white pill thing. When I did my homework on the whole white pill thing. People are going to say, well, you don't know what the white pill is. Well, I get the same accusation when people say, you don't know what MRAs are. You don't know what MGTOW is. You don't know what the black pill is. You don't know what purple pill is, right? You use purple pill as an insult. I don't use purple pill as an insult, and I'll tell you why I don't here in just a second. What I see when I look at the guys who are trying to do this white pill thing, I see two sides of it. First off, white pill is not opportunistic, but optimistic, and there's nothing wrong with being optimistic. I am not of the school that is the enjoy the decline school. I think we can do better. And that maybe that's me sort of being Pollyanna optimistic, but I think that I don't necessarily see things as being irrevocably doomed. If I were, I would be on a black pill channel. If I thought that, that's what I would say, but I don't. I think that we can lift ourselves up out of this. I think we're in a point right now of if we're in a point of trauma right now, whether that's socially, civilly, politically, intersexually, whatever, if we're at a point of trauma right now, it's because we're trying to adapt to a new reality. And again, something else I cover in my fourth book. We're at a stage right now where we're, I think it was, I forget who the author was saying this. I think it was in the Ape Who Understood the Universe. It's Steve something Williams. God, what the hell is his last name? Anyways, the point is this, is that we are, it's what's called genomic lag or something like evolutionary lag, I think, is we are still human beings who are evolved for life on the sub-Saharan African plains and hunter-gatherer tribes, yet we're trying to figure out a smartphone, right? That's the lag. We weren't meant for those things. Guys who are like sort of anti-pornography, they'll tell you something very, very similar. Like your brain was never meant to have like unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. Yeah, you're 100% right. Your evolved mental firmware was only meant to be functional, useful, whatever, in a certain condition, in a certain environment. Now we've advanced ourselves so rapidly, so quickly, that we can't keep up with this, and we're still at a stage of adapting right now. And if we can even adapt at all, so maybe the plane crashes, maybe the bus runs off the cliff. I don't know. But I think that we still can turn the bus around. Now, that said, in that case, I'm very optimistic in that. And I would assume, like a lot of people say, you're very optimistic. Well, I am not an optimist. I am not a cynic. I am certainly not a pessimist, but I am very much a pragmatist. And that's where I think that the red pill needs to remain and needs to stay, because that is the root of the information upon which you get guys who are in the MRA group, the tradcons, the Christo manosphere, whatever you want to call it. That's where you get the white pill. That's where you get the black pill. That's where you get purple pill. That's where you get guys who want to be coach, whatever. So, and yes, that information can be used in a variety of different ways. And I'll explain that here in a minute. But when I'm talking about blue pill and I'm talking about red pill, the historical way of thinking about this is that you are sort of locked into this old order way of thinking. Something happened, something changed. You read my book, you went through some really bad trauma. Like that's the first thing anyone will ask you, like, who hurt you, right? Well, when that's not sort of like this facetious kind of period at the end of an argument, really what that boils down to is they presume that there must be some point of crisis or some point of trauma that like changed you into who you are because you're not like the rest of us, kind of thing. Well, in a way that's true, because a lot of guys have to go through that crisis. They have to go through that trauma so that they can think differently. And I think men, probably more than women, particularly in a gynocentric social order, have that insight. Men, I think, more so than women, because men tend to be more idealistic, women tend to be more opportunistic. And when the entire social structure is geared to empower women all the time, that insight is very rare in women. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it's very rare in women. So guys, I think, go through, they get hammered flat by girls, they get hammered flat, they get zeroed out, right? They get by work, by family, by a job, by the military, by whatever it is that they've committed to. It doesn't work out for them, and they've got to reassess how they think about their own world, their own life, their own reality. And that's what Cappy was getting into here. Is like, I'm in my 50s. Cappy's probably late 40s. Sorry if I date you here, Aaron. But we've gone through a series of challenges, and we've arrived at where we are as a result of those. And we did so without the benefit of the manosphere, without the benefit of the internet, without the benefit of social media. And I think social media can be a great thing, but I think it also can be a detrimental thing. Again, it's like fire, right? You can use fire to heat your food and warm your home, or you can use it to burn your house down or burn your neighbor's house down. Okay. It's just how you use it. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just how people are going to use that particular resource and in what ways. So and I would say the same thing about the red pill. And I think that needs to be set from the outset here, because a lot of guys will say, well, the red pill is just, it doesn't give you any solutions. It doesn't give you any prescriptions. And I have gone on record hundreds of times saying that I don't do prescriptions. As close as I get to prescriptions is the 99 rules of Tomassi, which of course is what all of these white pill coaches, hacks decide that they want to criticize and completely take out and mischaracterize, deliberately mischaracterize. Or simply they're just ignorant. They haven't read the book at all, because if you'd read the book, you wouldn't come to the conclusions that you are. However, the fact remains is that it's force fitting that data into a belief set and hoping for the best. It's really like the title of this show was White Pill is the New Purple Pill. Now, hear me out here, because when I've talked about the purple pill in the past, what the purple pill is sort of a mixture, right, of the red and the blue pill. I've done a full episode on the purple pill. I'll link it at the end, or I'll put it in the description here. I've already talked about this. I've written so many essays. I'm blue in the face over this. Again, white pill is just purple pill that has been sort of recycled and regurgitated and rehashed for 2021. And what I mean by that is this, is that when you are in that blue pill paradigm, when you still believe that women are all, sugar and spice and everything nice, right? When you believe in, just be friends first, and you have all of that old school, like the video I just showed you a minute ago from the Good Man Project from 2014, somewhere around there. And you get guys who coalesce and get together who have that same kind of belief set, and they try to collectively come to get to a point where they're going to accept what the red pill presents to them, but yet still kind of try to force fit it back into that belief set. Because if they can't do that, then what that requires them to do is to change their fundamental beliefs. And that's the hard part. That's what I was saying before. You have to go through that point of crisis. You have to go through that point of trauma. And I think that a lot of empirical data, a lot of the things that are easily accessible right now on Google, on the data that I just used for this book, right? Everything It's so easy to find right now that when I say, okay, well, what do you say about this study? What do you say about that meta study? What do you say about this research? What do you say about that? And it's so much that it's hard not for a lot of guys who are sort of the believer set to sort of cocoon themselves and get back into like, say, okay, well, we're not going to believe that. We're not, we'll take that and we'll mischaracterize the parts that we don't like, but we'll accept the parts that we do like. And that's the purple pill. It's having those blue pill ideals and those dreams and those hopes, and for the white picket fence and the golden retriever in the front yard and 2.5 kids and a minivan, right? That kind of stuff. Like, I want a woman who loves me as much as I love her, right? Yeah. Well, Rollo's got a 25-year marriage. I want to get to that point too, right? They want that old school, old order belief to come, like Disney dreams to come true, right? But that's really hard to do when Rollo Tomassi is saying, hypergamy is not a straitjacket. That's really hard to do when we talk about one-itis or the soulmate myth. It's really hard to do when you start talking about, especially when you start talking about mental point of origin. A lot of the fundamental things that I talk about are not statements of belief. Okay, these are simply observable data facts. Right? These are the things that I did a whole show with Myron on Fresh and Fit. At the beginning of June, where we're coming, I'm showing the data right here. Here it is. This is how we come to these conclusions. What do you have to say about that? Well, the problem is when you don't have anything to say about that, you resort back to your ideology. You resort back to whatever your belief set is, because that belief set seems to be the only way to get to those blue pill dreams, those blue pill hopes and dreams. I said that in religion. It's really hard to unplug guys just in general, but it is almost impossible to unplug guys who are very deeply convicted of whatever their belief sets are, and that has been an integral part of their blue pill conditioning. So of course they're going to go back to that. Of course they're going to come back to, the old school, old order way of thinking, and they still have to do so by cramming the data sets that are unignorable really right now back into that. And in some ways, maybe even claiming that, we knew this all along. Well, okay, that's neither here nor there. But the problem is that you've got guys who are in this blue pill, want to believe that their blue pill hopes and dreams and idealism can come true. But yet we've got the red pill that dumps a whole, bucket of cold truth on top of them. And it's hard to reconcile those together. Try to use that awareness to achieve blue pill goals. That's the fundamental truth of the purple pill right there. I'm not calling you purple pill because I think that you're a dick, or I think that you're an incel, or I think that's not an insult. It is simply a category. Well, he'll just call you a purple pill and move on. I will if I think you're hopeless. But what you're doing is you're trying to force fit red pill empirical understanding, even just the questions, even if I'm just like, it might not even be set in stone. If I just connect two dots in a red pill paradigm that counteract or conflict with your old order blue pill beliefs, that might be enough to turn you purple pill. And so a lot of people want to say that, well, we want to use the red pill to live a better life. Well, good. I hope so. I have a 25-year marriage. I think I would attribute a lot of the success, however you want to qualify or quantify that, of that 25-year marriage to being red pill aware. Absolutely. So is there some optimism in that? For sure. Yes, you can. But you've got to know what you're talking, and you've got to accept the realities in the first place and be able to work within that paradigm. That's the problem. The problem is that the goal state is back in the blue pill, and the blue pill was a bunch of horse shit to begin with. The blue pill was a lie. It was a conditioning to keep you to make you useful at the right place at the right time, usually right when you're 30 and she's in her epiphany phase. That's why the blue pill is so useful. And then after that, you become the good provider, the good parentally invested guy, the guy who doesn't ask questions, the guy who just, good soldier, right? Don't ask questions, just do your job, soldier. That's all it is. That's all it comes down to. In fact, I'm going to show you this video right here. Actually, I think I might show this to you right now just because this is kind of clever. Where'd that go? Oh, let's see. Is this it? Not that one. Not that one. That's not it. That's not it. Is that it? That's it. Okay, here we go. This is, you'll laugh. Here we go. I told you today's going to be good.
Yes, sir! I said his marriage hard! Yes, sir! Will you love her? Yes, sir! Will you sir! Who's right? She is! Who's right? She is! Do you like jellyfish? No, sir! Then you better answer this right or I'm gonna shove it down your throat. What's the golden rule of marriage? If she says she's fine, she's absolutely not fine! Good job! Thank you, sir! You were right, I was wrong! I can't hear you! You were right, I was wrong! I don't think you believe that! You were right, I was wrong! Don't stop! Wife deserves your very best, and I need it now. Yes, sir. Will you cook and clean? Yes, sir. What is your wife's job? Whatever she wants it to be, sir. Will you give massages without expecting anything in return? Absolutely, sir. Quick scenario. When is the only acceptable time to lie to your wife? When she asks about her outfit. What about you, Cupcake? Does this dress make me look fat? Quick scenario. Wife says something irrational, makes no sense at all. What do? I don't know, but I've been flown. I don't know, but I've been told. Saying sorry never gets old. Saying sorry never gets old. Down. I love Michael Bublé. Down. Bachelor Mondays are my fave. Down. The Starbucks today keeps the doctor away. Down. Yes, honey, you should buy that. Scenario, your wife notices one of your coworkers is pretty. What do you say? Who, her? I didn't even know she worked here. Good job. Go. Happy wife. Happy life. You're at a restaurant. Your wife asks if you think the waitress is pretty. What do you say? What are you talking about? I haven't seen anybody. I only have eyes for you. I don't know, but I've been told. I don't know, but I've been told. I must treat my wife like gold. I must treat my wife like gold. Your wife says something that makes...
All right, that's enough of that. There we go. You like that? Was that funny? No, I didn't think so either. A lot of people say, well, it's just a joke. It's just a goof. That's just well, the problem is that when I was doing the research for book 4, this is not uncommon. It's a running joke, particularly amongst tradcons, particularly amongst let's just say a believer set, that male sacrifice and to a ridiculous, absurd degree is what is expected of them. That's old order thinking. That's blue pill conditioning. That is a slave's mentality is what that is. And people say, oh, it's a goof, man. It's a joke. Just can't you take a joke? Blah, 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 blah. Well, that's an elaborate video for just being a joke, right? I mean, but I've seen other ones that's similar stuff that's like that. But one of the things that I am concerned with, let's just say, I hate to be because I sound like a concern troll, right? One of the things that I'm very concerned with right now with respect to the red pill and understanding the red pill is that people keep saying, is it going to go mainstream, Rollo? Are we going to have mainstream red pill stuff right now? And I think that we're kind of like, we're already there. Like a lot of people are seeing the value in bringing up the sort of the controversies of what the red pill has been showing really for a very long time. I think what's fascinating is a lot of the same kind of let's say e-celebrity psychologists are now sort of embracing red pill principles or red pill concepts because they see that it's a benefit or it's a boon to their own personal brand of meat, right? So they'll embrace that for a little while, but yet you can go back in, and I know this because I've been in this for a while, but you can go back through their Twitter feed, you can go back through their blog posts, you can go back through their history of whatever it was their research was or what they've said before that entirely conflict with what their new revelations are in 2021. Simply because that's where they're at, right? That's where their brand is at. That's where they are as a personality is at right now, because that's why you have Tim Pool embracing this. That's why you have like a lot of people want to have Fresh and Fit on, right? Because they're funny and it's entertaining and everything else. And they want to get, oh, these guys are talking about it. Let's add that to my show because it'll add to that same kind of gravitas, right? They've got more subs, they got more engagement. Let's have them over here too. And not to take anything away from Myron and Fresh, they've done a lot of hard work and they stay on point. To Myron's credit, he does stay on point when it comes to the red pill. But when you go on shows like that and it suddenly becomes their that show host or that show's character to in some way challenge you on these things, and then when they have no counter argument to those challenges, or the simply just asking the wrong questions in the right time, that's where, okay, I guess that's all we got time for. Or that's when people default and fall back on those blue pill conditionings. And that's how you know when somebody's blue pill, is you listen for those things like, oh, happy wife, happy life. You're blue pill, right? Do these pants make me look fat? How long have we heard that joke? Since the 80s, at least, since the early 80s. How long have we been saying happy wife, happy life? How long have we been saying all of these things that are still old order blue pill ways of thinking about things, and keep coming back to them over and over and over again? I talk about this all the time when I'm criticizing feminists. I'm going to criticize guys right now for just a moment, because when guys are still locked into that blue pill conditioning, especially men who are part of the millennial generation, like I got to pass because I'm Gen X. I know I've had the history enough to remember hearing these sort of tropes. But for millennials and Gen Z, they don't know where these come from. So when I'm talking to a Gen Z feminist and they're talking about a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle, they don't know where that comes from. They don't know that that's Gloria Steinem. They don't know that came out of like Our Bodies, Ourselves, or whatever the hell it was back in 1973. They don't know that. They just regurgitated and parroted it back because somewhere, somehow, they heard that. They don't know what it's for. They don't understand the history behind it. And I can't expect them to have the insight to even be curious about it. The same holds true for guys who are like, happy wife, happy life. Right? Well, you got to treat her like a queen. Got to take care of her needs. Let's think of how many more can we come up with? Like, you got to keep it fresh. You got to have date night. Think of all the blue pill tropes that we still have today. How old are those tropes? How old are those sayings? Even the language. How old is the language for that? That's what I'm talking about. That's how long blue pill conditioning has been going on. And even the guys today who are like Cappy and Thinking Ape we're talking about, even the guys who are in Generation Z right now, they don't know where it comes from. They just know it is what it is. And whether or not they have the curiosity to really dig into that, I don't know. But you're going to suffer the same kind of fate as the guys and you don't have to, because you have the information, you have the data, and you've got all these people who are like sort of like helping you out with you have a red pill. Like people say, well, Rollo in his rock star 20s, man, he could, he would go to the clubs and he would go to the Troubadour or the Roxy or whatever, the Central. And he had to figure it out for himself. Yeah, I did, because we didn't have a manosphere. We had to go, and it was hands-on, right? And sometimes literally. You had to learn it by trial and error. And sometimes that error had really bad consequences. I know friends who killed themselves as a result of that. I know friends who got into unwanted pregnancies because that error erred on that side of it. So yeah, but we didn't have all of that. And so a lot of guys from my generation who got hammered flat, at least we can say, hey, we didn't have the aggregate of data. We didn't have the red pill. We didn't have the manosphere. And so the lies that are more believable right now to Generation Millennials, Generation X right now, or Generation Z right now, it's like, I hate to say, what's your excuse? But the excuse is it's simply a disinterest. It's simply, there's no drive. There's no insight to actually want to know about that. What'd you say here, Sancho? Men got to go through tribulations. Yes. Men must become. Women just are. One thing Rollo taught me was to not hate females' nature, just to be aware of what they seek. Right. And that's important. Because when I hear guys talking about, oh, we need to push the red pill further. You know how many times I've heard this? I've heard this from like the quote unquote upstream Twitter guys, right? They're still around. They're still trying to do this. And what those guys end up doing is the guys who are in this red pill, who become red pill. Let's just say objectively, they become aware of women's nature. You can't deny that. Guys then want to do something with it. So the red pill is a praxeology. It's fire. Right? You can burn your house down, or you can burn your neighbor's house down, or you can cook your food with it, or you can heat your home with it. How you choose to use it is your prescription. And I've said before, when it comes to say like MRAs, when it comes to tradcons, when it comes to black pill, when it comes to white pill, yes, when it comes to purple pill, those are prescriptions. That's the difference between the red pill and any of the rest of this stuff. And I hate to even say, because people get hung up on the word pill. Stop getting hung up on the word red pill. Okay. It is a praxeology of intersexual dynamics. It asks the right questions. It connects the right dots that a lot of people simply don't have any counter argument for, because they're approaching that counter argument from a belief set, from a set of beliefs. So when people say, okay, I have all this data, I have all this good stuff, I'm red pill aware, Rollo, where do I go from here? How do I use this? Now, you might say, well, you use it as game, spin plates. Great. Okay. Be non-exclusive. Assess the situation. I think it was, what was it? Ryan Stone was talking about it in the military. They have what is it? The OTA loop, observe. What is it? I forget what the other O is. But anyways, it's observe and then see what's going. Observe, assess. I hope I'm doing this right. I'm blowing it here, but it's understanding and seeing the situation, then acting on that situation, and then moving into it according to the best of your knowledge at that time. Right? Be pragmatic about things. That would be my advice to you. You want a prescription? Here it is. Be pragmatic. Hope for the best. Plan for the best. But also understand that the worst could happen as well. So plan for that, hope for the best and plan for the worst. I mean, that's really the best that you can do. And so when people say, well, I don't want to get married. Yeah. I understand why you don't want to get married, particularly now. People ask me, well, would you ever get married again? I got this question all last week on my anniversary. Would you ever get married again? No. Oh, that's pretty shitty. Well, you got a bad marriage? No, I don't. I have a fantastic marriage. And that should tell you something more than if I had a bad marriage. I have a what most guys would consider an ideal marriage. I have had for the last 25 years, and without exception, right? I don't say, oh, here's the prescription, here's the 12 rules, here's how you get from point A to point B. You will never hear me tell you that, because I'm not you. My situation is not you. You have to be the one to decide how you're going to use that information and write your own prescription for yourself. That's what it really comes down to. And anybody who's saying, oh, I got the prescription for you, they're selling you something. I am not selling you something. I've never been selling you something. In fact, when I'm doing counseling, or if I'm doing, like, people are asking me about, like, well, what would you advise me to do? Well, I'm not going to advise you to do anything, but I will give you an assessment of what I see going on in your situation. I will never call myself a coach. I will never call myself a guru or whatever. I'm not a therapist. I'm just here I can assess your situation. I can give you analysis. I can give you a breakdown of it. I can give you my interpretation of it. But ultimately, you're the one who's to write your own prescription. And that's really what MGTOW is. That's really what the black pill is. That's what the white pill is. That's what the purple pill is. Those are prescriptions. Those are, what are you going to do with this knowledge? And a lot of times it's bullshit. A lot of times it's nihilistic, and I get it, man. I understand why these white pill cats are all about, like, oh, well, we need to be more hopeful and everything. It's either that, or they just want to sort of opt out. Like, they want to accept the fact that they're losers, and they're going to be good with that, and they're going to be happy that at least they know, they're not ignorant, but they're still blissful. If that applies, I guess that's one way of looking at it. Another one is, and yes, I'm aware of the Michael Malice interviews about how he thinks he coined the term white pill, whatever. It's just this want for hope. And I get that. I understand this. It's a lot of nihilism out there right now. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that the red pill is the black pill, that the red pill is, nihilism, that it's I've been dealing with this for decade, well, at least a decade, man, well, almost a decade, right? I remember back in 2014 when Owen Cook and the rest of these guys at RSD were like, yeah, they couldn't, like, they had their guys who come to the seminars and they go, what about this book, Owen? What about this book? What about what Rollo says in here? Blah, 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 blah. And they had so many people at their seminars, wherever the hell they were, at their summits or whatever, with my book in their hand, asking questions about that, and they didn't have an answer for it. And so the first thing out of their goddamn mouths was, well, yeah, it's true. Like, well, they finally, when they took the time to actually read some of it, I don't know how many did, because when I look at the critiques of this from that period, which are non-existent because they've deleted all of them off of YouTube, but at that time, it was clear that they'd only read either parts of it or they had mischaracterized parts of it that would work back into whatever their particular grift was at that time. But they couldn't ignore it. And that's what I think is happening right now, is on a larger scale with respect to the red pills. You can't ignore it now. Even guys like, even God Sod, Jeffrey Miller, Steven Pinker, even the guys who are like, sort of like these, gods of Evo Psych, they can't ignore this stuff. They can't ignore what the red pill has been talking about really since the pickup artist days. So now they have to sort of like pile on, but they got to be very careful about it, because if they say the wrong things or they make the wrong connections, they get canceled. They lose their tenure. They get run up the flagpole. They get a false allegation of some sorts. And I understand they want to protect, they want to cover their ass. I've been the guy that's been out there sort of connecting these dots because I can. I will connect the dots and I will make the connections that these guys can't do, because they're in a position where they can't do that. They simply can't they can only speak to a certain point. When Dr. Steven Pinker's talking about the innate gender differences, sex differences, gender differences, whatever, right? He's talking about, men are more interested in things, women are more interested in people. Here's why there's a gender wage gap. Here's the thing. He doesn't want to end up like James Damore. He doesn't want to end up like without a job. Now, I don't think he's worried about that now, but he certainly was back then. He certainly was when he was making those assessments. He didn't want to talk about, like, I forget the guy who was the professor. There was a professor, I think about the mid 2014, 2015, who got lost his tenure, got kicked out of whatever college he was, just for suggesting that men would be better at math than women. That the reason why we have more male coders than we have female coders is because men have the mind for it, and they do. It's a biologically, statistically shown that men tend to have a more rational mind. Women tend to be more emotional. They tend to lead with emotions. Men tend unconditioned response is they tend to lead with rationality. And then how did I feel about that? Usually that's how it works. But to suggest that there is an innate difference is heresy to the religion that is emotionalism. And I am very concerned that this whole white pill thing, or this whole, and it's not just in the intersexual dynamics communities or seduction communities, it's also in politics, it's also in whatever else, is that it becomes about the ideology and then smashing red pill stats as convenient. It's like pick and pull. You go to the pick and pull, and push whatever part works into your car, which is your ideology. Now that works. Let's push that in there. Remember when Candace Owens used to call herself Red Pill Black? She doesn't call herself that anymore. She distanced herself from that whole thing. She used to, on Twitter, her handle used to be Red Pill Black. She doesn't call herself that anymore. Back in 2015, 2016, when Trump was doing his thing, everybody wanted to be Red Pill. It was associated with the alt-right. Nobody talks about that anymore. You don't even refers to the alt-right anymore. That's passe. But people wanted to use the red pill as sort of their moniker for whatever truth was. And so when you have guys who are in this believer's mindset and they want to force fit whatever that inconvenient data is into that, they just pick and pull stuff. That is the essence of the purple pill. Because what it's saying is, like, I can get to my blue pill ideals if I use just these few things. I disagree with Rollo on this and this and this, but he's right about these two things or this four things, right? And you take those and cram those back into your ideology, and then you can go back to your blue. Then you can plug yourself back into the matrix, and therefore then you can be happy again. Because that's the goal state. The goal state is whatever the matrix and your blue pill conditioning taught you should be that should be the goal state. And I will tell you this right now, that you haven't crossed the abyss. That's why black pill guys get stuck in the black pill and they get so nihilistic about things, is because they realize there's no going back. They can't go back. I will give you this, black pillars. I will give you this. You're not purple pill. You're not going back to that blue pill stuff. I have more in that sense. I have more respect for guys who are black pill than I do guys who are like white pill or purple pill. White pill guys are just like the straight edge version of the black pill, right? They go, this is too deep. It's too dark. I can't stand it here. It's like Swedish death metal. I want to listen to Michael Bublé, right? I want to listen to Michael Bolton. Let's go, because that was much more comfortable. I was more comfortable in a blue pill paradigm. Let's just take this stuff that I learned from the red pill and I'll take it back to the blue pill, thinking that that's the real world. At least the guys in the black pill understand that there ain't no going back. And once you become red pill, there ain't no going back. I had these guys, I was watching these other guys. I'm still debating on whether or not I want to put their video up here, but I'm watching these guys completely mischaracterize and misinterpret my book, or simply didn't read my book. And so they're using the same kind of arguments that I heard RSD use back in the day. Well, Rollo's right. He's got truth, but it's truthful anger. And if you get stuck in that anger, then you'll get nihilistic. And then you'll turn into Elliot Rodger or whoever, Alec Manassian. Then you'll turn into one of these, Terminator incels, right? So be careful with that, go, still hang on to the golden rule and still hang on to your old order way of thinking. And then just take what you can to take what the best of this is and then use it for, no, you either take the entirety of the red pill or you don't take any of it. That's really how it works. I think that, and I understand how seductive that is. I understand the want. I understand the want to use red pill awareness and red pill understanding about men and women and everything that the, Evo Psych, Evo Bio, anthropology, all the good stuff that has already been done for you and prepared for you. Here's the buffet of the red pill. And you're just picking this. I take the mac and cheese part and I'll take the chicken over here and I'll take a salad and I'll take these black olives and I'm going to take them back to my blue pill seat. No. It's not a buffet. You take the whole damn entree or you don't. Because when you go back, because what happens is, even if you could go back, would you really want to? That's one of the things. That was one of the lines from the Matrix. Neos asked that of Morpheus. He says, there's no going back, is there? And he says, no. But if you could, would you really want to? Because once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And I think that's one of the things it's like this level of self-delusion, this level of magical thinking that is necessary to sort of perpetuate the illusion for yourself. And that, I think, is probably the most dangerous part of the purple pill and certainly the white pill as well. People want to call the white pill so that one way of looking at this is me just going off of Urban Dictionary here. Actually, I'll read this to you real quick. Urban Dictionary, which of course is where everybody goes for their information, right? White pill, 1, being aware of a difficult situation or position and having a fighting can-do attitude. Okay, there's nothing wrong. It sounds good, right? And not giving up. Plus accomplishing said things within a difficult situation. That sounds like a pep rally is what that sounds to me. That sounds like psyching yourself up for something. Okay. I fail to see how we need a white pill to describe what's already been described for sort of like, this power of positive thinking, power of positivity, right? Number 2, being optimistic, okay? Not merely through gut feelings, but via having thought out about a situation enough to understand how to get through it successfully. So that's the honestly, it doesn't even have to be the Urban Dictionary. It could probably just be any dictionary, and that's pretty much it. So it's optimism. There's nothing wrong with being optimistic, right? I think we need some optimism. I think when it comes to magical thinking, I'm going to kind of bake your noodle here in just a second about this. Let me get to these real quick. I got to Sancho. I got to you already. I missed a couple of these. I'm going to try to keep up a little bit better today. Red Pill Mike, thank you for that. $100. Junaid. What is the black pill? They seem to reject the red pill. No, again, the black pill is a nihilistic sort of doom and gloom assessment of the information that's presented to them via a red pill praxeology. It is a prescription. Here's how you live your life. The red pill says, here's the data. Here's the Chilton manual. Here's the information. And it's not good. It's not bad. It just is what it is. It's empirical data. What are you going to do with that data? Black pill says, oh, no, it's all about looks. It's all about, I'm a chin cell. I'm never going to be what I need to be. I'm doomed. Forget it. What kills me is like these guys are become so nihilistic, but yet at the same time, they try to write books about how you can sort of game that same system. And what's funny to me is in every single quote unquote pill, there's always a subset of niche marketers. And the black pill is no exception to that. So black pill tends to be more the prescription to the data, to the understanding of the situation and the environment and everything else that comes from red pill awareness. The prescription to that for the black pill is just simply nihilism. It's simply just like, stop trying. Don't worry about it anymore. Ryan, Ryan decided to join me.
Hey man, I just got in. Been running errands all day, prep cooking.
I promised everybody I was going to be solo today, and then I was like, you know what? Ryan might actually enjoy this conversation a little bit.
Enjoy is one way to describe it.
Did you see the video I put up of the guys on the beach doing their yes, my wife is always right?
Oh yeah, the guys all dressed up in camo and that.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to think that was like, because in the military, everybody likes filming little skits like that, kind of taking the piss out of it. So I'm hoping those guys aren't true believers, but they could be. They might just be making fun of the guys, though.
Well,
that are true believers.
Well, I've been looking at this, and forgive me here because I think people are going to say, well, you don't know what the white pill is. Like everyone, anytime you try to make an assessment of like a quote unquote pill or whatever, or the purple pill or the blue pill or that, I will say this is the guys that I did a little bit of homework on before this episode. A lot of them are saying, well, you need the blue pill and the red pill. Well, does that not sound like purple pill to you? Does that not sound like you're trying to force fit red pill awareness into your blue pill hopes and dreams and ideals? It's blue pill ideals as well.
It sounds like nobody knows what they're talking about. All the red pill is just taking, like, observing the world for what it is and not using your brain. Like, instead of looking with your heart, look with your eyes. So if you accept the truth based on what you can observe around you, that's red pill. And if it's not, that is blue pill. To say you're mixing those together just makes no sense. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you could be tall and short. It's like, no, that doesn't work that way. That's not how language works. So I'm just finding it's ignorant people, which makes sense though. It'd be white pill because I'm assuming white pill means overly optimistic.
Yes.
About the same stuff the black pill complain about.
Yeah, like I said, it's the white pill is the straight edge movement for the black pill.
Oh, so black pill minus jerking off. Well, geez, you guys got me sold. Let me go get my pom-poms.
People right now are like, what the hell is Rollo talking about straight edge? Go look it up. Go look up straight edge, the straight edge movement in the punk rock during the early 80s. And you'll understand what I'm talking about. They should put like little X's over the back of their hands to remind them not to jerk off or to drink or to be on. I always thought what's interesting about that is so just the brief version of the straight edge movement in punk was punk rock had sort of the reputation of being like, we're going to get rowdy and drink beer, and there was the skinheads at the time, and there was other things that were going on at that time, and the straight edge movement was more like, Christian guys who they couldn't give up punk rock, but they still wanted to go, to the shows and everything else. And so it was, no drinking, no drugs. You only have one girlfriend. And it was if there was a definition of what old order, like the right way to live in the old order, that was straight edge, right? But you were still cool because you could still go rock out with your friends at the 7 Seconds show or watch Minor Threat.
Yeah, there was a lot of Christian grunge bands coming out of the 90s, a couple out of my high school even, that was kind of the same thing, but with like alt rock. It just seems like every time there's a really cool movement that's kind of based on being a little bit outside of the norm, there's always a group that wants to make it milquetoast.
Let me run through these real quick so we can get going here. Glenn Lawrence says, Rollo, Hollywood actor here, would love to collaborate with you and Savo, bring on Red Pill content. Look me up. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Glenn, hit up Kevin and just tell him me. That's all you got to do. And Kevin will take it from there. Spin Doctor says, for the insight, thank you for that. Pretend Philosopher says, liked your religion book a lot, but I think you overlooked how red pill alpha Jesus was. Jesus knew about hypergamy. I think as well as the Oedipal son. All right. Sancho Bohemian says, men got to go through tribulations. I got to you. Tony Pajama says, trans feminist Camille Paglia in 1992 said, women simply is, but a man must become. So not everything feminism has to say is bad, right? No, just because we use it in this space, women are just our men must become. Yeah, well, it's not to say that there haven't been people who have had those insights along the way. It's where I draw the line, Tony, is where she's talking about how she's a quote unquote feminist. Like, is she a feminist or is she not a feminist? You just said she's trans feminist, so maybe she wants to be a guy. Maybe now she's not a feminist anymore. Just because people come to a conclusion and you don't happen to agree with their ideological bent doesn't necessarily mean that what they're saying isn't true. Drape Tolman, what'd you say here? He says, one of the things I think men need to be careful of is the level of chameleon nature of women that's showing up on YouTube. Yes, more and more channels by women talking about how women should be acting. That's a good segue here, because I think a lot of this optimism and a lot of this stuff, when I'm looking at these white pill channels right now, one of the first things they do is they try to sort of march back what they think is sort of this hatred towards women. They think that it's misogyny. And so it's like they want the red pill, but without the misogynistic undertones, I think.
Yeah, that's not how it works. It's actually, I hate to say it, like, everybody would love if we could be nice and happy and nobody would be mean and nobody would say things. It doesn't work. The MRAs tried that in the 70s. The
Yeah.
MGTOW tries that in the 2000s. And every time it's the same thing. Because we're nice and benevolent, they let a girl in there. A girl will start leveraging the thirsty guys in there to start placating them. And then the focus completely goes off kilter. And then we found out, since you can't just ban girls from the internet because it's a free place, you have to just make it very unappealing to women. And so, yeah, it's not that the misogyny is there because we're a bunch of evil bastards. It's pretty much a survival tactic for the space.
Well, I think we're still, I think with the new popularity of the red pill right now, I think when we're talking about, is this going to go mainstream? Is this not going to go mainstream? My concern is that if it does go mainstream, it gets watered down. It no longer it ceases to become the red pill because the people who become the spokespeople for it end up marching it back because they have to. Because if they don't, they get canceled. If they don't go on those particular shows. They don't get paid.
So yeah, men don't spend enough money for it to go mainstream. The only way it will get mainstream is if it appeals to female sensibilities. That's
exactly.
Like I
and
said,
that's how you get these dating coaches that are supposed to be quote unquote red pill dating coaches that are females, that are women. That's how you get that Skrillex hair girl that I did the breakdown of a couple weeks ago. That's how you get her. And she's one of dozens of these girls.
Wait, you talking about the chick that killed He-Man or the other one?
No. Well, yeah, that one. Yeah, like Tila. Yeah, blonde Tila. Yeah, butch blonde Tila. No, that there's other ones that are out there. I mean, Marnie Wing Girl she probably has a male handler as well, but it's this niche marketing grift, right? Go out, create a channel, create your sales funnel, create your coaching business, create your whatever, your ebook that you're going to sell on Gumroad, that kind of stuff. And it doesn't matter if you're actually, I should say it does matter actually, because I think women are kind of piling into this because they see that these guys want some sort of hope. And I'm not saying that hope is a bad thing. I think it's something that sort of keeps us going, but it also shouldn't be something that prevents us from understanding objective reality. And that's really where I was going with this whole white pill thing, is that it denies an objective reality. Eventually it denies an objective reality. So when I look at, like, I don't know if did you see the intro that I put on here? The Good Woman.
No, I've been kind of spotty because I've been in and out of like garages and shit.
So are you familiar with the Good Man? Of course you are. The Good Man Project. That's Pat Stedman's old group, right?
Oh, I didn't know he was a part of that.
He was. Yeah, he used to have it. I don't know if he had a presence on there, but he used to advertise for them on his blog.
The second coming of Paul Elam, Pat Stedman. How about that?
But everybody wanted, like, remember back in because you were there, back in 2017, everybody wanted, we're going to progress the red pill. We're going to push it on. We need to be more hopeful and positive, and we need to take this stuff and use it. And women aren't bad, and women are, and it's like, no one in the red pill.
They're never arguing you either. They're arguing a straw man, what they thought you said.
Yes, constantly. Yeah. I'm constantly dealing with that, whether it's these white pill guys or it's the guys in RSD who's saying, oh, it's truthful anger or whatever it happens to be. I'm constantly having to fight my own straw man, right?
Oh, it's hilarious. You're like, hey, I love my wife. They're like, this guy hates women. Get a load of this.
I know. I got Tradcons going, Rollo Tomassi can't be married. He's red pill. And then I got these other guys, Rollo Tomassi can't be married or can't be red pill. He's married.
Right. How else would you like me to live to be the proper villain for you, sir? Would you like me to murder puppies or something?
Yeah, I can't win. What does he say here? Nihilism is still an emotional response. Yes, it is. If it fails to achieve what red pill is for, you can't create a rational solution if you're still stuck there. Yes. And I think that's the hard part right there is a lot of these guys, particularly in the feel-good guys, the guys, and you've commented on this dozens of times, where you've got the guys who have the, I don't know, whatever, the secret order of real men with mustaches and, know how to chop wood.
League of Distinguished Gentlemen.
League of Distinguished Gentlemen online. Join us today. Yeah, learn how to tie a tie and shave with a straight razor, right?
Dude, I should have got on that. I can tie a double Windsor like a mother. That guy's like a millionaire because of that. Just pretending to be guys' dads. People
really want that, right? They really want that they want to be able to go back to the blue pill. They want to be able to go back to this old order way of thinking, right? Oh, that's how you get guys dressed up in this little military outfit going, yes, sir, I will never just cheat on her, sir. And we laugh at that, but they're like, oh, yeah, but that's what a real man does, right? Yeah, they want to go back to that state. They want a time machine, right? They want the red pill. They want the time machine.
That's the weird part, because it wasn't like that back then either. Like my loyal as hell, super Christian, grandfather's a preacher. That was like her third husband. widowed twice, 20 aunts and uncles, tons of divorces. Like, men and women aren't different. The only difference now is women are rubbing men's faces into it, and it's all visible. It's really the only difference.
Right, Dylan found me out. Admit it, Rollo. You made a deal with the devil to unearth all this knowledge. Do you have any interest in the occult? No, but I'm leaning into that. Thank you very much, because you're gonna call me a cult leader. Fine, I'll be your cult leader. No problem. I'm there for you, man. You can join the cult of Rollo. We're gonna have hookers and blow. Yeah, people have been saying that about me for forever. Like, oh, I think he's a cult leader. Well, okay, fine. I'm a cult leader. Only a cult leader would deny he's a cult leader.
I still laugh at the other people. He's not yoked. He doesn't count. It's like he's 55, and I've never seen a 50-year-old man in shape like that. So
I'm more yoked than most. I would say I am in the top 90 percentile of guys who are my age right now.
And natty.
And natty. Yes, exactly. No TRT for this kid right here. No, my TRT is the squat rack. Thank you very much. Tony Pajama says territory, resources, and women make a powerful man. No, those are the things that a powerful man acquires. They don't necessarily make him that way. Those are the results of him, not the cause of him. But money is the only thing that brings all these things, right? Also, really enjoy the fourth book. I've been getting this a lot too. A lot of people think that it's all about, and this is the high value man thing, right? Well, to be a high value man, you've got to be making $50,000 in this particular city, right? Then you're a high value guy. It's not about money. And I'll tell you, I can tell you this right now. The most pussy I ever got in my life was when I had the least amount of money in my wallet.
I know. I
can guarantee you that.
Well, plus it's like it's a beta strategy. Money, resources, that's for comfort. That's to keep a girl around. And that's the thing. If that's your only value, girls are earning money. What's it? 40% of women right now are out earning their husbands or boyfriends. So if all you bring is the paycheck, what the hell do you think is going to happen when that trend keeps going? And it's going to keep going. Basically, a whole bunch of guys are just saying, please, dear, have a kid with me and then take them away from me. So I put a shotgun in my mouth.
Right.
It's like, why would you walk into the meat grinder like that?
Did you read you haven't read Cappy's article here about how Gen X is not going to have to go through the same, well, theoretically, it's not going to have to go through the same kind of lies and the same kind of, like, I guess,
Gen X or Gen Z?
Gen Z. I'm sorry. Gen Z is not going to have to go through the same process of becoming red pill that, like, say, guys in Gen X had to go through.
No, I haven't read it yet, but it makes sense. I don't know. This stuff's been around for a while. It's just, do you think guys are going to be smart enough to learn this stuff, or do you think guys are going to, like, ignore it and have to learn it the hard way? I'm really more jaded than Cappy is, which is weird.
I am too, and that's in that respect. I think maybe I'm a little bit more pessimistic there.
Yeah.
Simply because I hear the same language. I see the same mistakes. I could go on Fresh and Fit tonight, and you will hear exactly the same language, the same mistakes, the same thing, over and over and over again. And Myron and Fresh, and God bless Myron for doing it, but he's going to repeat the same thing to these girls on the same, and it doesn't end. And I'm glad they're making a lot of money off it, because it's like the same kind of cycle. It's like the girls ask the same questions, they come up with the same bullshit. And they're using language that they don't even realize where that language came from. They don't realize it's old Gloria Steinem stuff. They don't realize it's 1974 feminism. Guys are in the same boat. They don't realize that they're regurgitating the same kind of crap, like happy wife, happy life, because they don't know what to say.
Well, dude, every MRA is just rehashing Herb Goldberg's The Hazards of Being Male. Came out in the 70s. And same thing as, what's the other chick there? The feminist that ended up becoming a man? Esther Villar. Those two authors are essentially, for the last 50 years, people have been repeating those same talking points, thinking that they came up with something new, some occult knowledge. And it's like, no, it's just a feminist that got booted out of the club, and then the guy that got divorced and wrote an article about it. That's all it is.
So I'm gonna throw one more out here real quick, but like one of the things, and I was saying this at the beginning of the show, is I think that as the red pill gets more popularized or becomes something that, like, people want to say it's going mainstream, whatever. Okay. Let's just say for sake of argument, it does. I've seen the cycle well enough for people to go, yeah, we're going to take this, we're going to move it on. What moving the red pill on is usually is, let's force fit this into my beliefs. Let's force fit this into my moral framework, my understanding of right and wrong. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to whispers of post about believers versus empiricism. I included that actually in book 4. That guys who are blue pill and guys who are red pill don't speak the same language. And when you haven't unplugged, but you're still dealing with red pill realities, or you're dealing with even just like I said, the questions that the red pill asks, let alone the conclusions that the red pill comes to, it's hard for guys to sort of step away from that because it requires them to reassess their own belief sets. And that's really tough. So what happens is you get guys who fall back and they understand this stuff, but they try to be like, they understand, oh, there's a crisis of masculinity and we need to do something about it. And so usually what it ends up becoming is the good man project. It becomes something else. It becomes something. They become the person that they hate, right? They become
the newest one, by the way, you'll love that. They call it the man cave.
Yeah.
It's out in Australia. I was laughing. I'm like, there's no way they're this unaware. Oh, thank you, honey.
Well, they come to a conclusion where, like, because they're trying to force fit it back into, what the red pill shows them back into that belief set. Then they have to organize. Then they have to start a podcast. And they have to start to get to that kind of affirmation. And I think a lot of guys want that as well. They still want to be able to have those blue pill hopes and dreams, and to coexist with what the red pill shows them. Mm-hmm. That it's simply not like that anymore.
Of course not.
You have to create for yourself a new paradigm rather than trying to go back to the old and use the new information that you have to achieve those old blue pill idealistic goals.
Yeah.
Because those goals are founded on bullshit. They're founded on lies. They're founded on what you were trying to unplug yourself from in the first place.
Well, do you remember back in 2018 when Tanner Guzzi asked you, was there any way for guys to red pill themselves without some sort of trauma? Remember that question?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that because I thought about that for a long time. Went and talked to psychologists and that. It's just like we're not wired for that. In the same way we're not wired for objective truth. Our brain will figure out a good enough system, and then it's going to lock it into place. And until there's a fight or flight existential threat, it's going to fight tooth and nail not to change how it thinks about these things. So, like you said, if these guys aren't sitting at death's door thinking of like, do I suck start this shotgun or do I pick myself up? They're never going to get it. Their brain won't let them.
Mm-hmm.
It's neuroplasticity. If you guys really want to look into this, do some research, look into the concept of neuroplasticity, and you'll see what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
That's why being zeroed out is like an essential part of the process.
Yes, absolutely. Trauma and crisis is an essential part. Diego says, anyone who thinks it's 100% about money or finding religion or succumbing to nihilism should watch Tom Torero's interview with Jack Napier channel. Don't need to. Oh, wait, Jack Napier.
Oh, wait, Tom, he was doing the living in the van thing, doing the pickup, was he not?
From Holland. Isn't that weird?
I wanted to use that for a while. Every time I say Jack Napier, I'm doing that sound drop.
That's the truth.
Don't need to want to live like Tom Torero to profit from what he talks about. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's interesting is because I think that a lot of guys, when we're talking about guys who are like, say, we talk about the Pareto principle, right? We've got the 80-20 guys. You got the guys who are in the 80% percentile, and they kind of lock into what they think should work for them. Like socially enforced monogamy, that should work for the most amount of guys who simply don't have the same kind of access that the top 20% of guys have. So how do we force fit guys to fit into that mating strategy, right? Instead of unlimited access to unlimited sexuality, which more and more women are saying that they want the guy who's the high value guy, and they're willing to share that guy. They're willing to initiate I guess it would be polyandry at that point, right? Many guys, right? Or polygamy, many girls with one guy, rather than sort of admit to that, these guys like double down on it. And so now they're like, okay, well, these guys are, I wouldn't want to have all that meaningless sex because that's just not the right way to do it. You're not treating women with respect, mister, because you're having multiple sex partners that you can have naturally because women are actually the ones initiating that with you.
Speaking of nihilism, does that not sound like slave morality from Nietzsche?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, if the audience doesn't know that, there's slave and master morality. Master morality is whatever's good for me is moral. Slave morality is whatever the slave wants is immoral, and whatever I'm forced to have is moral. It's it's literally cope.
Yeah, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
I think and so you got these guys who are kind of locked into the belief set of one man, one woman. Like that, I was just the joke, of course, is like happy wife, happy life. That's that you do whatever she says because if you don't, you're gonna lose a wife, and you're gonna you're the one who has to respect her all the time and love her all the time and do this, and it's hard work, and it's like it's being in the military, right? You got to do all these things. If you can get enough guys to believe in that joke, then that what that does is it facilitates your own mating strategy, because it at least gives the most amount of guys access to the most amount of women. That's not how things are working
on paper.
On paper, yes. Oh, it used to work that way. It certainly used to work that way back in the day, right? It seems like it makes sense. Well, the problem is that when guys get a hold of the red pill and they understand that old order way of thinking is horseshit, they want to force fit it back into their belief set, and then by doing so, they end up becoming back what they escaped from in the first place. So I'm gonna let me throw this one up here real quick. This was an interesting video. This is our good friend Baldoni once again. This is a trailer for his new podcast on YouTube, and try not to hack up and discuss too much, please.
Podcast together
about men. I think we're doing a podcast together.
You love men. I love men. I am a man.
Yes, you are a man.
He looks like Sasha.
I'm Justin Baldoni. I wrote a book called Man Enough, and I have been on a journey to try to figure out what the hell it means to be a man. I'm here with my friend Liz Plank, author extraordinaire for The Love of Men.
The heart is a unisex organ.
And one of my best friends in the world, Jamie Heath.
I'm someone that speaks up in general.
I know. We're about to go on an unfiltered, honest journey, being willing to sit at the table, listen to feedback when it hurts.
When I hear
being a real man sounds an awful lot like being a woman. It sounds an awful lot like prioritizing emotions here, but maybe that's just me.
You know, Cornelius, it's okay. You can cry now. Do you guys know that line? You know that line.
Doing it, I feel angry.
And we're going to be inviting a lot of really interesting people. We're going to have Matthew McConaughey.
Often men are just consumed with the physical and don't tend to the emotional or the spiritual. I don't think we have to cross the bridge and burn it down.
Karamo Brown.
If I'm the problem, I have to also be the solution.
Glennon Doyle.
It is none of this is women versus men. It's all of us together.
We got Shawn Mendes joins us.
No big deal.
We all have to be Superman, you know.
Jay Shetty.
I erase all of my failures and mistakes from the day before and just start afresh to allow myself to have another go at it.
Look, poet, author, they go by they, them pronouns.
We've only been conditioned into feeling like we can be loved if we emulate
like some
standards that were created by someone else.
Mr. Rainn Wilson.
How do you describe this shift that needs to happen in masculinity? That's where a lot of people really react against. Like, I don't want to be feminized. It's the same kind of reaction of like, I don't want to wear a mask because it restricts my freedom.
Andy Grammer.
To me, the truth is too good. Are you man enough to care more about her?
Yeah.
We have Lil Rel Howery.
Yes, I could sit down with this other man, just having really honest discussions. That's what I think what quarantine did, make a lot of us as close, just talk.
Travis Van Winkle.
Having a space for these things to come out that are creating bad behavior. Because you're not necessarily in control. Your unconscious is in control. Something in me just closes, and it's a protection.
This looks like
and you know the worst part? It's like there's some half-truths all peppered in this thing too.
Yeah, and that's
the scary part.
Yeah, and I'll pick up here in just a second, but yeah, that's what kills me about this whole thing is that's half of his little introductory video for his new talk show, and that's Baldoni. I did a whole episode on him for his TEDx talk, I think it was. And
he couldn't even get on the branded TED. He has to get on the GoBots.
So this is the end result of the white pill. This is where it leads. This is where this goes. Okay.
Testicular cancer meetings.
It goes. Well, we need to have this discussion about reimagining masculinity. That's where you end up with this. That you abandon entirely the red pill as an empirical data set, and you go strictly to that. You want to talk about blue pill for the 2021? That's it. That show right there. You look at these guys who are every single one of them. And they don't even realize this. Remember, we were talking about like, do they even understand this stuff? Do they actually believe this stuff? Yes, they do. I think they actually do believe this, and they don't. They believe it so thoroughly that they don't realize that they're fish in the water. Right? They don't realize that they're wet, and so everything out of these guys' mouths is, how can we serve women better? They're not the enemy. We all need to come together with love, and we need to lead with emotions. And what they're saying is, we're not men. What they're saying is we're conditioned by this female-centric, gynocentric social order, this feminine imperative, and the correct way to be is more like the chicks that are on this show. They're more like that. And yet, in the meantime, the girl who's writing books about For the Love of Men is banging, Jason Momoa, right?
It's like Oprah, man. She says stuff. The soccer moms in the audience nod their head and clap. That's what you want. You want the girls to nod their head and clap, and then maybe they'll give you a piece, and they never do.
Right. Right. And so I'm looking at this stuff and I'm going, this is what's going to solve the quote unquote crisis of masculinity.
Dude, I might do that, Griff. That looks like there's a ton of.
I know, right? I mean, imagine if we use Ryan. Imagine if we used our red pill superpowers for evil. If I was a cult leader, this is the show I would start. If I was really a cult leader, if I was really I was just in it for the money, I would I would mirror this show right here.
Oh yeah,
because I know exactly the language. I know exactly what to say, but I'm not going to do that. I've been criticized. People will take that out of context. Rollo just said he's going to be a cult leader. No, okay, I'm joking here. Joke, okay.
To be fair, the only guy that was shitting on you for that was a guy who was trying to bring his own brand up to relevance.
Right,
so
right.
Take
yeah,
it too serious.
And we know who I'm talking about here. Yeah, exactly. And so if I was going to create some sort of new company, or I wanted to create something that is not going to get canceled, that's going to speak the right language, that's going to pander to this emotional center, that's like you said, it's going to speak to women as much as it's going to speak to guys. Honestly, I don't think this show, like that show right there, is, I think, what are they at? They're not even at 10,000 subs yet, but they'll probably go bigger.
They'll blow up,
most likely.
Dude, how did they get Matthew McConaughey? How big do you have to be to get him on some?
Because it's thing? That's the other side of this, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on here, is because that's the magical woo-woo magical thinking side of this whole thing. Because where this goes, where your white pill goes, gentlemen, is right here. It goes to the Good Man Project, like the guys that the Dear Woman thing. That's where it ends up. Ultimately, I've seen the cycle go that far.
House always wins in the end, right?
Well, it's going back to this old, what it is. It's like, well, now we have this red pill knowledge. Let's see if we can make those blue pill old order ideas, those 20th century old order, and maybe even 19th century old order masculine ideals. Let's see if we can make those work. That's one way to think about it. Then you get like the liminal order, and then you get like the order of excellent gentlemen, or whatever the fuck it is, like apex gentlemen, right? It's either that, and we're gonna wear Trump hats, and what's that kid that's out there right now who's debating Vaush on Tim Pool's show?
Oh, Destiny?
No. The other dude, the other kid, the guy he's a conservative sweetheart right now. He was just talking at CPAC not too long ago, and I can't remember his name.
Oh, dude, I don't even.
Somebody will say. Anyways, that guy right there is the extreme end of the white pill. I don't know what the hell is his name.
Anybody who takes that Vaush guy seriously, he's strictly in it for the grift.
Somebody
can't look at that fat communist from Beverly Hills.
It's not Jack Posobiec. It's another guy, and I can't remember his name.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Somebody in the chat, go give me that. Go give me that information. I want to use him as an example. But that's what I'm looking at right there. Is the guy who wants to go back in time, who wants to go back to this golden age, and the only way to do that, of course, is for men to take more responsibility. Right, more responsibility. So if you're from a tradcon perspective, more responsibility. You look at these guys right here. Let me see if I can put him back in.
You need to be a macho. It's never enough. Never.
The love of my life, Emily Baldoni.
We need to do better. Mothers need to be lifted up because they are raising the next generation.
I'm going to have this conversation with my dad today.
The things that I didn't talk to my dad about. I wish we would have talked about sex. That would have been pretty cool. I kept everything inside, and it wasn't good.
Yeah. All of us have a different balance. And I believe we are all dying inside, waiting for permission to be like,
I'll tell you a story after this. It'll be funny.
How do we make it safe for him to stumble, and then give him the tools to then do it better?
Man enough in general has been a phrase that's been used to hold men back. I wanted to reclaim that phrase. Ask if we could be man enough to do the hard work of heart work. So appreciate you taking the journey with us. Things might get uncomfortable. Yep. We are all learning in real time. And if you have any interest in learning in real time, this might just be the podcast for you. This is Man Enough.
All right, that's enough of that. That's enough of man enough for me.
Fun fact. My dad and I talked about sex once, and it was awesome. I was taking my grad partner. We were going to school, and I introduced her to the family first, and he looks over, gives her an up and down, 17 years old, and he's like, why aren't you on her like a dirty shirt? I don't know. It didn't have the fancy American Idol music in the background, but it got the point across.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that man enough?
Well, I mean, that's the liberal, woo woo. What is that? Religious, but spiritual, but not religious version of where the white pill goes, right? So, from both sides, you have the magical thinking that goes along with that. So it's always about, well, why do they have Matthew McConaughey on there? Well, it's this mystical dwell in your inner inness. That's what it ends up being. And again, people are going to say, well, Rollo's just shitting all over belief. And no, I'm not.
Not just.
Hear me out here, because in my fourth book, I understand. I make a case for magical thinking actually in the book. Okay. But when it comes to like using that versus the empirical data, the reality that's like set in front of you, yes, that's how you get nihilism. Extreme nihilism is just as I would say damaging as over and enthusiastic extreme optimism as well. That's why I say I'm a pragmatist. I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm not a cynic, but I'm not black pill. I'm not white pill. There's something in between. He's like you can make your best practices can come from in between.
Yeah, well, it's gravity. Gravity doesn't care how you feel about it. That's kind of what gets me on this one, because they're just they're like doing the Plato's cave thing,
Yeah.
And you're right. Red pill makes the total argument for consequentialism. If we tell you guys a mental model, all women are like that. All women actually aren't like that. But if you think about it that way, you make better choices. That's no different than this. It's consequentialism. The difference is all their goofy models don't actually do anything. They actually just hide you from things. They're like a way of, putting your head back in the sand and forgetting all this happened. And then maybe, hopefully it'll work out. And if it works out, you become a cheerleader. If it doesn't work out, well, then you should have tried harder. And every guy likes that. It feels like control.
Try harder. Yes. And I'm glad you put that in there, because that's
what I had to tie it into the title.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. Well, it's the idea that men must take more and more responsibility, yet they have less and less authority to enforce that responsibility in the first place. That's just simply a sign of our times. Now, here's the thing that gets me, and I think both sides, like the tradcon side of the white pill versus the hippy dippy, spiritual but not religious side of the white pill, they both rely on the same thing, which is responsibility, right? They both rely on the idea that guys need to man up more. They man enough. Okay, great. But the thing is like you still have to, as a guy, you still have to be the guy who is keeping it fresh and like doing all the things in the joke video, right? Do all of these things, and then you'll have a happy life, and never let it down, and never relax, right?
Don't pay attention to guys who did that and how it ended up.
Exactly. And they want to, especially in the hippy dippy side, it's like be more like a woman. Be as much like a woman as possible. On the tradcon side, it's you got to lift her up, you got to build her up, you got to be respectful to her, you got to, she's got to, it's complementarianism, of course, but it's like you've got to be the man. You got to be the guy who's gonna, get back to the old order way of thinking. And it's like, no, that's just as false as the other side is. And there's got to be something that's in between these two, because both of them are not working. And the reason they're not working is because both of them deny human nature. Both of them.
I'll put you one. Think of the ego behind that. Like the previous generations, let's say boomers, just to throw them out there, previous ones too, right? They broke the social contract. You didn't. I didn't. Our younger guys didn't. And the ego to say, if you guys just take more responsibility, you can fix all of this stuff that we made through our own rational choice. Summer of Love, the birth control pill, everybody gave up everything traditional just for a whiff of free pussy with birth control. The ego to tell some poor fucking 25-year-old kid that you can fix this thing as long as you become the dutiful plow horse and fix all my mistakes. And I hate that, because guys are like, you didn't break the social contract. They did. You're sitting there having to make the best out of a bad situation. Like, Rollo, you're 25 years married. I'm 12 years in myself. Do you think we don't want this nice, wonderful bubble wrap life? It sounds great. And if it was at all possible, I'd be preaching it from the mountaintops.
There you go.
Red pill isn't some kind of like goal. It's kind of like we do with what we have.
Right.
What did Rumsfeld say? We go to war with the army we have.
With the army you have. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Diego, thank you for that. Yeah, it was Charlie Kirk. That's the guy. He's the guy. and what kills me is you want to talk about like here's how old is Charlie Kirk? He's got to be in his 20s, right? He's like in late 20s. He's a young guy. I know that. He can't be beyond his early 30s. I know that. And he's like the CPAC kind of, conservative guy who's the sweetheart of the whole thing. I think people look at him as sort of like a younger Ben Shapiro, or they look at him as a younger like Tucker Carlson or something like that. And the guy, like everything I've heard come out of his mouth when it comes to like marriage and women and everything else is like, it's all that old school, same rhetoric that has been part of that old order for forever. And all based on a belief set that if we do these things, then women will want us because this is what we do, right? It's based on the beta buck side of hypergamy, completely ignoring the fact that women don't care about that. They don't care about your long-term provisioning or your long-term security as much as they did back when you probably picked up that, that old order way of thinking.
Yep.
So you've got that guy. Then you've got Baldoni here, who is on the opposite side of this sort of white pill kind of thing. And one of the reasons I say it, and really kind of both of them suffer from the same malady, which is they don't understand human nature. And that's where the red pill fits in. And that's why on both sides of the track, the conservative side or the hippy dippy side, they both hate the red pill because the red pill reminds them, no, you have an evolved nature. No, you have men are like this and women are like this. No, this is how women are. Hypergamy versus unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. Show you the statistics. Show you the divorce rates. Show you the marriage rates. Show you the rate of antidepressants prescribed for women. I mean, you could go on and on and on. And they simply don't want to accept there is an evolved innate nature that they want to throw away. And that's
yet they blame you for all of that.
Yeah,
that's why they're on SSRIs, Rollo.
Out, right? I just work here, man. But then you got like for instance, and here's my example is like when you go and you look at like the Baldoni thing right there. He's got all these guys on there, and they're all we can do the heart work, right? That's you're talking about prioritizing emotions. You're talking about the idea that your emotions and your emotional state and your higher state, why is Matthew McConaughey on this? Your higher mystical state of being can overcome your biological imperatives, right? So if we can convince enough women to accept us pussies as real men, then more women will want to be with us. And then we can adaptively solve our reproductive problem. No, it doesn't work that way. We're still the same critters that were evolved on the sub-Saharan African plains back, 100,000 years ago. And women still look at you and they go, oh, what a great guy. Too bad he's a pussy. I'm going to go fuck Jason Momoa. I'm going to go fuck The Rock. I'm going to go get with somebody who is a real man. And that's the first thing feminists and the first thing probably every chick that's on this show would probably say. They're not there with the guy who's the pussy. They want to get with the guy is conventionally masculine.
Well, and they do go for Matthew McConaughey too, though, because he's
they love
a $500 million 40-year
blue pill
career full of like status and pre-selection. You can be the biggest pussy on earth. That's an expensive signal, and girls are like, if he can fake that,
yes.
But yeah, you're not Matthew. I'm not Matthew McConaughey. Nobody's Matthew McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets away with it. You don't.
So, and that's really the summation of the white pill, which is there's this belief that, well, what those guys say is true, but we can evolve past that. We can evolve ourselves above that. And as a result, you get these two factions. You get the traditional conservative side of things. That's a white pill. And then you get this other side that says, well, we can evolve above our innate, instincts. And we can teach the next generation to be more kinder, loving, heart work, emotional men who are higher value. Well, the only reason you think of those kinds of men as being higher value is because you are born and raised in a gynocentric social order that has conditioned you to think those things, to believe in the idea that you can overcome your biological imperatives.
Don't hit your brother. Put that down.
Yeah, exactly. So let me do I have anything else here? I think that's about all I've got for today. Charlie Kirk, though, man, thank you for digging that up for me. I had one up here. This was pretty funny. Guy asked me, he says, why is it that I'm 26, I understand the red pill, but I'm still hoping that for a family one day, does that make me purple pill? No, it doesn't necessarily make you purple pill. The thing that makes you purple pill is you wanting to force fit that red pill narrative into a blue pill understanding of what marriage ought to be for you, right? I think more and more people right now, like, you're not legally married. I know that, Ryan, but you've been with the same chick for for 12 years. So effectively, you guys are like common law married right now.
The only thing we're missing is like a state mandated contract, which is a new phenomenon anyway. If this was the 1500s, we'd have had, that's it.
And I think that's the problem that I think a lot of people are having right now. This is not
they don't want to go traditional.
Well, that's why people want solutions. Like this guy right here wants a solution. There's nothing wrong with wanting that solution. It's kind of like dependent on who you are as a person and like what your particular, your circumstances of your life and the chicks that you're with and whatever else. That's particular to you. That's why I don't give you a prescription. That's why I don't have like a one size fits all red pill for you. However, you do need to be, let's just say, realistic about what the environment is like right now and how society has changed, and then view that in light of biological realities. The blank slate is bullshit. Social constructionism is bullshit. Okay, keep those.
That is your
mind.
relationship is bullshit. Like, here, you want prescriptive? This guy, I'll give him the best he's gonna get. You're gonna be with a bunch of girls throughout your lifetime. Some are gonna be invested, some are not gonna be invested. At some point, there's going to be girls that are like, I want to have your baby. They'll try and slip one past the goalie. They'll start talking about how beautiful your babies are. Like, that level of investment, that's when you get to decide if you want to have a family with somebody. Not before then. You can't be on a date at a girl having dinner thinking, maybe she's the one. Briffault's Law, man. The girl chooses. Your job is to make those peacock feathers as bright and as colorful as possible so that you have more women who want that. And then you can choose.
Mm-hmm. I thought this was pretty fun. I pulled this from Animal Farm.
Oh boy.
I do not understand it. I would not have believed such things could happen on our farm. It must be due to some fault in ourselves. The solution, as I see it, is to work harder. From now onwards, I shall get up a full hour early in the morning. Where have we heard that one before? That's the horse, by the way, from Animal Farm. It's like it
definitely wasn't the pigs.
Busting your ass a little bit. Yeah, definitely wasn't the pigs, right? And that's and I think that's like guys will want to take on more and more responsibility. They think that that's the key or the solution to solving whatever problem that they happen to be in. It's like, if she's not happy, if mama ain't happy, ain't no one happy. And in the book, in my fourth book, as I was saying, is if mama ain't happy, God ain't happy now, because like because we live in a gynocentric social order, women decide what is, they become the mouth of God, right? I mean, it's like if they're not. And do I mean this literally? No. Okay. Yes. Stop right now, literalists. I mean, in a sense that because we have prioritized women to the point where it's like they're qualifying men, like men qualifying themselves to women, that if she's not happy, then it means that God has sort of taken displeasure in you because you haven't done the right things. And the right things are whatever a gynocentric social order tells you is correct. And that's what both of those and the white pill still suffer from. Which is, in a female paradigm, everything that is a female experience tends to be the correct experience. So you can accept that and move on with that and create your own prescriptions as a result of that, or you can go back to being Charlie Kirk, right? Or you can be Baldonia. And
I saw his photo. He looks weird. Like there's something wrong with his face.
Oh, with Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, it's like his face was too small for his head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is there like I don't want to say autism because that's the easy one, but there's something there.
I would feel bad if we didn't like at least give some sort of ideas like what could be a solution. And I think John from Modern Life Daily has been talking about this. Guys want solutions. Oh yeah, I get it. I understand. But it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to come to this solution because it fits my belief set. And it's another thing to say, well, this is actually the most workable solution. This is actually the most practical, pragmatic way that I can sort of organize my life, because I have so many guys who, and you get this too. He's like, well, how do I get like this guy just a minute ago? Like, I know I want to fall in love. I know I want to have a kid. I know I want to have all this stuff. That's not necessarily blue pill or red pill. That's just you wanting to invest in a woman, invest in your future, and spread your genes. That's you. That's solving your reproductive problem. The problem is,
what's the percentage of girls like that out there?
Used to.
If you had to guess, out of 100 girls, how many girls out there do you think for him would be that kind of girl? That would be good for that, invested in that, moldable. 1 in 100?
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say where I don't know anything about this guy, but like, I think it's.
Well, let's say he's he's a normal, decent person. Nothing, 5 out of 10 across the board. 1 out of 100, you think would be a safe, easy assumption?
Well, you'll hear this all the time. I mean, I know I've seen this on Fresh and Fit, which is like, the average woman doesn't want the average guy. They always want the guy who is above average. And that's simply hypergamy. They're always looking for the bigger and the better deal. However incremental that ends up being. They're not looking like, what do we say? Hypergamy does not have an attraction floor, right? So or it has an attraction floor. For men, they don't have an attraction floor. So women are only interested in, if there are 5, they're only interested in guys that are at 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, right? They're looking for somebody that's above them, but never below that particular station. And even if they're like 5, a 5 gets with a 5, and again, we're just quantifying this abstractly here. She's looking for the 6. So, and that's, again, and that's a red pill. That's a tough red pill to swallow for a lot of guys. They're looking for like, so they say, well, Rollo, does that mean that I have to get with a girl? If I'm a 7, does that mean I have to get with a 6?
No.
No.
Well, first off, over time, girls are going to get less attractive over time. So
Right.
she'll eventually be a 6.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like you've said it too, you and Rich. What's the average man like? The average man is fat. He's out of shape. He can't do this. He doesn't earn that. The average man is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
No offense. No offense to any average guys in here. So to become an above average man's not hard. Like you have to put some effort in. You have to stow your ego. You sometimes have to, eat shit with a smile for a bit, but it's very achievable. Then at the same time, we've talked about the Pareto principle. There's not a single sexual marketplace. There's hundreds of them. If you're not in enough different sexual marketplaces to be a top 20% in one of them, join more places. If you're not the top guy at work, go work at a bar. If you can't work at a bar, go join a band. How many things, like you said yourself, everybody joins a band because then they become the top 20%. So you've already got the roadmap for the guys right there, but it's hard and it looks like work. Become top 30% or top 20%. It's not hard. Pick a bunch of different groups. Get more options. If you have a 1 in 1,000 chance of finding a girl that's invested in you to the point where she can give you a family, well, then you got to go get in a position to be around 1,000 girls and then be able to see the one that's got potential. And but it's hard, and you can't rely on somebody else to tell you what to look for. There's no 10 ways to spot the high quality woman. Number 6 will surprise you. You have to use your own damn eyes, trust your judgment,
will surprise you,
and believe her actions and not her words. Because girls, I don't know if you know this, but girls lie because girls want things too, and lying is easier than doing shit.
Right. Well, and that's becomes even that much more difficult if you've sort of made your bed, right? If you're black pill in the first place, it's really hard to say, well, how can I solve my reproductive problem? How can I live the kind of life that I want to? Yeah. That's been my buzzword for this entire year. My thing is like, what is it that you want? What is the end result? What's the goal? And does that goal align with what you know from a red pill perspective, with the red pill lens on? Is that achievable? Is that something that could happen? Right. I think that a lot of guys need to be a little bit more optimistic than they actually are. So don't get me wrong in this sense. I'm not saying that like to be hopeful and to have some sort of like, you have to have that. Otherwise, you're just going to sit on your ass all day and do nothing and not get to the gym or anything. You have to have at least to get your fat ass in the gym. You have to believe that you can be better in the first place. So
somebody's got to believe in you. Might as well be you.
Exactly. It has to be something that's hopeful. And now I'm gonna sound a little bit like Tony Robbins here, but like the idea of becoming the best that the best version of yourself, like Rich says all the time, right? Doing the work. You won't do the work if you don't believe that you can't become something greater. Like, remember we talk about men must become and women just are, or the burden of performance. You won't take on that burden of performance if you don't believe that you can become better. So there has to be some sort of hope. There has to be some sort of magical thinking that goes along with the idea that if I get in the gym and I bust my ass and I put in the work, then I'm going to be in a better spot in the future than I am right now.
And better has to be objective.
Wrong with that. What's that?
Better has to be objective too. I think that's where Top Knot there fucked it up. He just says better in that vague, wishy-washy way that whatever happens to you, you're going to bullshit yourself and think, well, this is technically better.
But his goal state is to be more identifying with the female. It's his goal state only exists in a female paradigm.
I guarantee you too. He's one of those guys with a wife. Let's say the wife cheats on him. Well, at least she's happy. So I think that's better.
Right.
You know what? Completely ignoring it, how bad a situation that is.
Well, I want her to be happy, so I'll be the cuckold, right? Yeah, so that's fine. Well, we can lift ourselves above our biological impulses, and I can sublimate my jealousy instinct, and she could go bang other guys because that's what makes her happy. And that's really, in the end, isn't that really what we want? Is happy women and happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, heaven forbid you not be taken for
bang or bull. Okay, fine. Well, happy wife, happy life. I guess that's okay, because in that stage, there's nothing that is you become nothing. You become just a cog in the machine. You become like something that is just there you're a facilitator.
Yeah, you don't live life, you let life happen to you.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that. I want to leave this whole conversation here with the thing is like, I'm not saying don't be optimistic. I'm not saying you can't move forward or live a better life. I hope you do. I hope you take, I've said this a zillion times. It's like, I'm not in the business of making men better men. I'm in the business of men making themselves better men by giving them the tools that they need. Show me your work. Show me what you've done. Show me that you've benefited from this, because that makes me feel good as a teacher, as somebody who is presenting this stuff here to you and seeing like the quote unquote student go and use it to build a house or to build a life with that. Go and do that and know that it's possible for you to build something in a red pill paradigm because you have more opportunities. You have an accurate data set now. You're not like a Cappy and Thinking Ape. We're talking about you're not being lied to. At least I hope you're not. If you have access to accurate information that I certainly didn't have when I was 22 years old. I had to wing it the whole time.
And
So-
if I may, how about ignore how you feel about it? Who cares how you feel about it? Are you winning, son?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Focus on that.
it's not to say, and that's where the black pill makes a mistake. It's like it's all gloom and doom. That's where MGTOW makes a mistake. Oh, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Well, what would make it worth the squeeze?
Grass is greener where you water it.
What would make it worth
the
the
sayings?
I love this part, and I got this. I forget. Maybe it was Michael Malice was saying something like, what makes it worth the squeeze? What makes it worth doing? Right? If your daughter has like terminal cancer or whatever, and there's only a 10% chance that she's going to live, are you going to hope for that 10%? Probably, because the juice is worth it. Your daughter lives, right? She survives cancer. She's a cancer survivor, beats the odds to 90%, right? Does that mean you go, well, it's only 90%, so fuck it, whatever, she can just die? Are you just going to say, well, the juice ain't worth the squeeze? Like, see, that's the thing. What makes it worth your doing? What makes it worth your hoping for the best, even though the odds say she's probably going to die?
Well, it beats jerking off in your living room.
Yeah.
That's a black pill knock there. But that's what I mean. Like, yeah, it's not even optimism.
From a
It's just you don't have a
theoretical
choice.
perspective, yeah. From a theoretical perspective, who do you save out of the burning building, right? Your 40-year-old son or your 20-year-old son, right? What's worth it? What's more worth it to you? Who do you think has the brighter future, right? Would you hope for the best for your terminally ill daughter if she only had a 10% chance to live? Of course you would. Of course you would. And that's where magical thinking and hopefulness sort of come into play. I think magical thinking is actually some sort of, and I don't know this me spitballing here, but I think it's part of like a part of our brain structure, right? There's something about human beings that makes us hopeful and makes us want to believe in magic, makes us want to believe that it's like metaphorical truth at the very least, but makes us want to believe that we can beat the odds.
Yeah.
And it can it be exploited? Absolutely. Can it be used by other people to like really gaslight you and ruin your life? Absolutely, it can. But it can also be a source of like you doing, like human beings doing incredible things. So I don't think that magical thinking is something that is per se bad. It's just like that's the source of our imagination, right? We wouldn't have stories, we wouldn't have art, we wouldn't have the movies, we wouldn't have the things that we want to, like, quote unquote, believe in. Like, do I think it's woo-woo magical? No, but I think it's important that we do believe. It's like the placebo effect, right?
Yeah.
You give like a certain control group the sugar pill, and you give the other pill the group, and the sugar pill group actually improves as well because they believe that they are going to.
That's actually a perfect metaphor. They were just talking about that on the Black whatever podcast with the buddy from the International Dork Web or whatever they call it. The placebo effect. A lot of guys don't read that either. It turns out the placebo effect doesn't fix outcomes. Like if you have cancer and a pill is going to help it and then the placebo doesn't help it, those objective measures don't get fixed. What does get fixed are the subjective measures. So like I feel less pain or I'm more positive about the outcome. That's literally the placebo effects. It fixes everything that isn't based in physics and biology, which I think is exactly what you were saying. Yeah, the optimistic outlook is great. If you have to eat shit with a smile, you hate your boss, you're getting zeroed out by your chick, yeah, optimism helps you out there because the alternative is sulking and being sorry for yourself. But at the same time, you have that realistic assessment of your situation. Okay, this sucks. There's certain things I need to do, and here's objectively how I'm going to get out of this situation. You put those two together, it's great. But that's the problem. This stupid top hat. What's the guy? I keep calling him Top Knot, but
Baldoni.
Yeah, Baldoni there.
Yeah.
He completely ignores the objective stuff. He thinks the placebo effect will get you through life. But it's like, yeah, placebos don't cure cancer, dude. They'll make you feel less pain, but they won't cure cancer.
And the placebo effect is still acted upon in a female paradigm, right? That the goal state is still, whether it's placebo or not, it's going to be whatever fits a female narrative. Thanks for that, Chris in Philly. Much obliged. Yeah, so I like a lot of people will probably throw rocks at me for this because like I think that magical thinking to a healthy extent is something that human beings need. That's how we get art, that's how we get storytelling, that's how we get hope, right? That's how we say,
we're wired for that too, right? Remember that we keep talking about that Nature magazine article or Nature article. We're not built for objective truth.
I gotta look that up too. I meant to to bookmark that one.
Same. I know. I've been looking for it ever since.
I've been
can't
digging
find
around for that for a while, and it slipped my mind. But what Ryan is referring to is there's a article, and it's a pretty radical premise, is that human beings did not evolve for too much reality, so like to interpret and to understand too much reality, at least all at once, and so therefore you kind of need that magical thinking, woo side of things, like
a good enough heuristic. That's what we're designed for.
Right. And then the other part of that I was going to say is that magical thinking idea comes from our emotional side, right? We want to really, what is religion? What is spirituality? What is it? I think it originates in emotionality. That's why we place such a magnificent, importance on our emotional states. The fact they said that, like, goddamn, every other word on that one video was like, well, we need to be more emotional beings. No, you don't. You need to be more rational. You need to be more objective. You need to you'll live a better life, understanding rational empirical reality than you will chasing magical emotions, like emotive states, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, love. Yeah, okay. Well, love is an emotion, and it's something that our brains, contribute to. Okay, it's a physical state. I can make you hate somebody by changing your chemical nature of your brain. I can make you more aggressive by putting, synthetic testosterone into your bloodstream. I can make you feel things. Doesn't mean that they're magic. It just means that's how you're interpreting things. Maybe you're pissed off because you're hangry, right? Because you didn't get enough to eat.
We could talk for hours on that subject alone.
Yeah. So
I'm surprised Americans are surprised about this, though. From 2016 to 2020, you've had a 4-year example about how easily manipulatable people's emotions are.
Right.
It's the 2 screens thing that Scott Adams always talks about. What do you think that is?
Yeah.
Emotionality, man.
Yeah, I like this. Asanji said, thanks, Asanji. The white pill says there's a lack of morals in the red pill. Yeah, there is. That's intentional. Yeah, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. If there were, then you would call it something else. If the blue pills define a big part of our morality and red pill give no prescriptions, where should we find it?
That's your job. It's not mine. It's not Rollo's.
That's why we say that it's a praxeology. Well, it seems hopeless. Well, when people want to give you hope, they're usually giving you hope that's based on their belief set. It's based on their emotional...
Or their pocketbook.
Or the pocketbook, yeah. Or both.
Could you imagine, though? Like, imagine going in an auto mechanic shop and saying, hey, you taught me how to fix my engine, but there's no moral principles behind this. What do I do? Mm-hmm. That's kind of where you're... Like, no offense to... who's the guy asking? Assange, but that's what you're asking us. This is auto mechanics, dude. This is how you fix problems. You bring your own morals in. You use your own morals. Oh,
then this is good. And I'm going to put this up there because Tom wants to throw this one out there. Empiricism is fundamentally flawed. Yeah, it can be, because we don't have a God's eye view of everything. So what we know as being factual and empirical and like I've got it right here in my hand kind of thing, that data set that can change. And that's the beauty of the red pill when it is a praxeology. We get to write it down in pencil and erase it as needed. It's not in ink. Belief sets are written in ink. Praxeologies and empiricism is written in pencil. And once new data comes and replaces that, we'll erase that old one and we'll put the new one in there because we can do that.
Yeah, and I want to, because Joe Mercer's way in your thing here, he says here that it's about truth. I'm like, it's not about truth. It's about utility. Remember that. It's not about things being true, because that's what girls focus on when they argue. They're like, yeah, you're saying AWOL, but I'm not like that. So the whole thing is bullshit. It's like, it's not truth. Is it useful? That's the only metric that counts. If it's true, that's great. But not everything is true in the red pill, and not everything has to be true. As long as it gets you to make the proper decisions for your own benefit. That's all. I know that's what all I care about. I would prefer if it's true.
Does it build an accurate predictive framework? That's what it is. That's
what's the economic principle. All models are wrong, but some are useful.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, okay, so here's the thing. In fact, I can show you just using my own examples here, right? If you go back to the 20th century, right, you go back to old order thinking, and you go back to like socially enforced monogamy and the golden era, right, of the 50s when men were men and women were women, in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant, whatever that, nonsense is, right? That used to be a predictive framework that worked based on what we knew for that time. That was the best way to operate. carry her books home from school, be her friend first, no premarital sex, none of this other, no casual sex for God for,
no cussing,
no cussing, right? Exactly. And that worked very well for that time because the environment was different, technology was different, our advancements were different, and then suddenly we get the birth control pill, and all that shit goes out the window. So now we need a new predictive framework. That's really what you're struggling with. That's what I think the white pill, the black pill, and whatever pill, purple pill, green pill, gold pill, whatever pill is struggling with is the fact that we have all of this new empirical data, and it is challenging not just intersexual belief sets, but also ideological belief sets, whether that's religion or morality or politics or race or whatever, all of this stuff that we now have easy access to. We go, what about this? And I think one of the reasons why we have like the woke mobs and the wokesies, and we're in such a shit place societally right now in a global sense, is because what you're seeing is people still hanging on and clinging to the blank slate, clinging to social constructionism, because that's their old way of thinking. That's their old order, mystical, woo-woo, magical thinking. Because if they had to embrace empiricism, it would mean they would have to abandon the blank slate, and they would have to abandon social constructionism. And when your entire identity revolves around, transgender rights, or we've got 72 different genders, or we've got, women are this way and empower women and blah. When your entire belief set and your ego invested in those beliefs is rooted in the blank slate and rooted in social constructionism, your worst nightmare is to have some empirical asshole like Rollo Tomassi come and say, no, that's bullshit. Because now you have to reassess everything. And I think that it's not just me, it's just in general, people are going to have more and more access to data, more and more access to this stuff. And they're going to go, you know what, that conflicts with the way I was raised, or the way that the gynocentric social order taught me to believe in empowerment, and men need to be more emotional and get in touch with their feelings, which is another trope from the 70s, right? All this stuff that I believed to be like self-evident is horseshit, because empirical data kicks out the legs of the blank slate, social constructionism, socialism, communitarianism, whatever ism that you happen to subscribe to at that particular time.
And you know the part that gets me about all that? Let's say all of it is true, all the blank slate crap. Never once is the appeal made to your self-interest. It's never, you need to be in touch with your feelings because you'll get a better life. It's always, you need to do it for her. You need to do it for the brand. You need to do it for the gang. For
Who are you doing it for?
You need to take more responsibility. And not once has they ever said, this will help you. To which I'm thinking, fuck you. Like, hey, I got bills to pay. I don't got time to to set myself on fire to keep other people warm. If this system is as good as you say, then it shouldn't just be 50% effective. It should be 100%. That means men and women. And I don't see that case. I don't see it from the tradcons. They're always saying you can become a dutiful plow horse and you'll get the good stable. You don't see it from the woke mob. They're saying, chop your dick off and you can come join us in the parade. It's never, ever in our own best interest. And I find that very, very abrasive. I'm surprised more guys aren't angry about that. I really am.
Well, and I make the case for this in my fourth book here, is that I think what we're looking at right now is this war of emotionalism, or this religion, this belief, this globalizing belief of emotionalism versus rational, empirical, objective realism. Like you were saying before, what is truth, right? Is there one truth? Is there objective truth? Like, this is what 2 + 2 = 4, right?
Yeah.
The
absolutely objective.
The most in that, for a while there, like people say, well, 2 + 2 could equal 5 or it could equal 3, blah blah blah. It just depends on whose math are you using. It doesn't feel right, blah. And if you look at the rationale that goes behind 2 + 2 = 5, it is based in an emotional state. What makes you feel good? It makes me feel good to be able to challenge the status quo, because it's my truth. My truth is 2 + 2 = 5. No, the truth is 2 + 2 = 4. It's empirical. We can see it right here, but there's no better example of the war of emotionalism versus rational reason clashing with one another on a societal level. Same thing with critical race theory, the same thing with our woke mobs, the same thing with
crack. It makes you feel good. Who gives a fuck?
Exactly. Let me get to these and we'll end here. NOC says, a high IQ woman wants to have kids but is 36. She's a virgin. Oh, really? Is her name what is it? Joe, was it JoJo? What's her name? What the hell was her name? Not
I don't know. I've never met a 36-year-old virgin, dude.
Not Flo. Yeah, she's a virgin, former model with assets. I have said I want sister wives, and she's good with that. I'm 45-year-old gentleman farmer, unsure about her age. No,
is that a real question?
He says he's not lying. She says she's for real.
Let me put it this way: you meet a 20-year-old virgin, sure. A 36-year-old virgin, there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
As much as everybody says they want virgins,
Lolo
if you're
Jones,
36-year-old and not had a dick, there's something.
Is it Lolo Jones?
Yeah. Is
it Lolo Jones? Because if it's not, then no. Well, and you're a farmer, and are you living in Utah? What is the? I don't know what the situation. I know what your situation is, but you want sister wives, great. Are you a high value guy? Great. If you can pull that off, awesome, good for you. But
I'll tell you this though, when she says, and she's good with what I want, girls will say what they need to say to get what they want. That's womanese.
Yeah, 36 years old is a 36-year-old virgin.
First off, I'm calling bullshit on that.
I am too.
How many guys have you known in their life? Like, when I met her, she told me she was a virgin. Then you meet one of the dudes that banged her. He's like, well, that one didn't count.
Yeah.
Dude, Matt, from my book.
Oh, you mean besides the guy in college?
From my book, the story about Sarah, the girl that I slept with that was engaged to the guy I was working with. She did that same speech to him. Oh, I'm a virgin. Then she met 3 dudes that she slept with, and he had to get some bullshit excuse about that, and he bought into that too.
Bill Smith says divorced red pill at 50. Good for you. You always say, what are you wanting to happen? Is it crazy to want to retire at 55? Not at all.
No.
With guaranteed income, $2,500 a month, monthly to the Philippines, where I am a 9 out of 10. In the US, I'm a 5 out of 10. Well, yeah, you probably will be a 9 out of 10 for the first 6 months that you're there. And once you become a permanent fixture, you're just another white guy from the United States living, expatriating to their country. And they think of you as a sex tourist at that point. The other part is this, Bill, good on you. Go leave, go do something. Get yourself out of the country if that's what you feel like you need to do. But the other thing is this, is if you can't get laid in the United States, it might be a little bit easier in Southeast Asia, but expect most of your interactions to be transactional.
Yeah, and because those women aren't stupid. They're sharks. Yeah. They will go after you just as much as any Western woman would. They'll have some different tools. Just like Rollo said, get your shit in order first, and then go there.
Yeah, good on you. I mean, don't get me wrong. Go to the Philippines, but remember, most of the time it's going to be a transactional thing. It's not like you're not going to find the one at 55 in the Philippines. But you know what? Maybe that's fine. Maybe you're cool with that. I think a lot of people get sideways about me when I say this. I talk about transactional sex versus validational sex. Mm-hmm. If you're a guy and if you got as much money as Jeff Bezos, you don't care if there's validational sex or it's transactional sex, because 90% of the time, probably 99% of the time, it's going to be transactional. And
isn't it all transactional though? We're quibbling about the currency.
Eventually it becomes all transactional. Yes.
I mean, when you were the Rockstar 20s guy and you tell the girl to hold your drink, you're basically do transactional right there. Hey, I got social proof and status.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll give you pussy. And you're like,
that's part of it for sure.
Yeah.
I love this too, is I hear this from a lot of the white pill guys as well, as they think that all we care about is looks. And I was like, no, dude, are you even reading my book? Have you even read my book? Or
no, they're not.
The love thing. When I say, they reiterate or parrot back the same bullshit, which is Rollo said that men can't love women and women can't love men. No, asshat. God, how many times do I have to answer this, right? No, men approach love idealistically, women approach love opportunistically. It's not that they can't come together and love and have I've been in love with my wife for 25 years. She's been in love with me. Want me to show you the card? I got the card.
You got a love card? Awesome.
Yes, I love you, and I hope we have another 25 years. It's been wonderful, blah, blah, blah. I love waking up next to you. My wife is in love with me, okay? But is it based on Performance? Absolutely, it's based on performance. Absolutely. I've become a fat piece of shit. If I become a drunk, in the street tomorrow, she has every right to leave me.
She should too. Like,
and
they're human beings. Girls have their own wants and desires. Like, you got to be somewhat valuable to another human being. Otherwise, why would they want you?
And just like if she put on, 200 pounds and just gave up, I would be like, I would say, oh, okay, but I'd like to have sex with skinny women. It is what it is. Hey, I'm embracing my innate nature. Hey, that's how you can work with the red pill within marriage, right? Yeah, well,
KFC's in the fridge. I'll be back on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see you later. I'm going to Miami. Kiki Cloud. Hey, how's it going?
Nice.
Yeah, but of course. But I think what happens is people like they want to build that straw man, and that straw man, it's easy to build when you challenge things like love, because that love is the mystical thing, right? Love is a magical thing, and you're God is love, right? It's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, it's in
a
every
lovely container word, isn't it?
It's wonderful, man, but love is an emotion, man. It's an emotive state. And I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, it can suck sometimes, sure, but I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I'm just saying it is what it is. It's an emotive state. It's not like, oh, I need that.
It's like motivation. It's
that
nice
sound
to
though.
have, but discipline is far superior. I'd say the same thing. Like, you're not lovey-dovey PDA all the time with your wife over the last 25 years. There's been times where you guys are just treating it very normal, like two normal human beings. You'd almost think roommates, but it ebbs and it flows, man. That's how adults work. I think a lot of this is based on delayed adolescence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That love is like how children talk about love. I think that's a big problem with guys.
Yes. And then there's also the concept of love, and the concept of like how do you express that love, and how do you
more chores.
Yeah, exactly. More responsibility, yeah, exactly. And I think that we need to sort of take the magic out of all of that. I think we need to take the woo-woo out of that, because that puts men at a disadvantage. I'm not saying you shouldn't be in love. Please be in love. But, you need to understand what it is. What'd you say here? Read Aaron Curse a High IQ. It explains people's struggles. Yes. I can see how she has had problems relating to most people. Hers is above my 138. Oh, well. Now
is that an issue you want to deal with then?
Check out the big brain on NOC.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, NOC, let me ask you this, man. If she said in the past 36 years, I've been unable to foster a good relationship with a man, that's an early frame announcement. David Clare talks about that, Practical Female Psychology, the early frame announcement. She flat out told you who she is. And you're sitting here trying to negotiate it in your own mind instead of just believing her.
Mm-hmm. I think I might get Aaron Clary on, and we'll talk about how intelligence is not intelligence in some ways is a selected for trait, I think, but doesn't make you, at a certain level.
It's got a Overton, like a butter zone.
Well, and then people will give me grief about this, and I want to clarify this really quick. So, like, if I go and I say, if somebody, like, you know who I'm talking about when I say those guys are autistic, right, or those guys are like Spurgs or whatever. I feel think I'm being derogatory, or I can't believe you use that. Don't you know that autism is? I understand. Okay, I'm using it in the abstract. I'm not trying to say like, oh, they're actually chemically autistic. I'm just saying that that's the way that they behave. So it's not like I'm not trying to insult your autistic son as a result of that. Okay, let's just clarify that right now. But the fact of the matter is that when you reach a certain level, that's how you're interpreted. That's, you look at it like there's nothing worse than the secret King Gamma who wants to be appreciated and have his dick sucked because he has a 140 IQ, and he was clearly the most logical choice for women to want to be with rather than Giga Chad. But it must be women's fault because they keep going for Giga Chad and not me, and I've got the Excel spreadsheet to prove it.
Yeah, girls are stupid. There's no way. If they wanted what was good, they'd want me. That cope always gets me too.
Yeah.
Whose fault is it? I'm not attractive. Well, it's her fault for not seeing.
We got to do the intelligence show. Maybe I'll get you and Aaron on for that one. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
Diego again says, dudes asking for permission from YouTubers to check out other countries. I recommend watching Ryan's vid Men Without Frame and what they do. He's not going to break down if you should or not. Nobody can, only you are you. Yes.
Dude, that's one of my favorite ones too. Like, it's exact, because you deal with this every time. People keep asking for like 3 years. What do I do with my life, Rollo? You're like, do what you want. Just make sure you do it well and don't do something stupid.
Right.
And they still ask. And that one's like, here's what guys with no frame do. They ask for somebody else to tell them what to do, so that if it fails, it's not their fault. And if it succeeds, then thank you, Dad. It's still not my fault.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyways, just to cap this all off, I think a lot of people can say, well, we don't have the red pill doesn't offer any solutions. That's because you have to come to the solutions on your own. Again, I just work here. I just hold up a mirror and you have to want to look in the mirror. Okay. Ryan just works here too. Okay. We're just employees of a red pill. Okay. Red Pill Incorporated. We're the front desk guys. That's us. Yeah. But when it comes like, well, what about the white pill? It offers us hope. Yeah. Okay. Well, I also offer you hope. Go read. I have you can find it in, I believe I put it in book 2, which is Preventive Medicine. It's called A New Hope. It's an essay called A New Hope. And I break this down. I say you have more opportunity. You can be more hopeful in a red pill paradigm than you can be in a blue pill paradigm. You will never achieve those blue pill hopes and ideals with red pill information, because what happens is the red pill awareness and the understanding of empirical red pill data cancels out all that blue pill bullshit that you believe for so long. That's what you're struggling with. You're struggling with the fact that you don't have the creativity to create a new big goal set for yourself in a red pill paradigm. So you go back to the old one. That's how you get the purple pill. Guys who want to take the red pill back to their blue pill matrix and see if they can make it work. Like they have the cheat codes to the matrix. No, you don't. The matrix is still bullshit. And you're still bullshit, because even you're in a worse position now, because you're still stuck in the matrix that you know is bullshit, and you know that there's a way out. You know, it's like the allegory of the cave. You know how to get out of the cave, but you'd rather go stay inside and watch the shadows on the wall while knowing that there's a way out of the cave.
Exactly.
Right?
And hope's not their problem. Not getting laid or having a wife that doesn't want to touch them, that's the problem.
Exactly.
Hope's the least of your worries.
Right.
Hope's tomorrow's problem. Today's problem is here.
How do I live a better life with the red pill? Well, you understand it and you accept it and you live as pragmatically as possible. What kills me is the same guys who talk about stoicism and all this other shit all the time. It's like, you're the least stoic son of a bitch I've ever met.
Almost like it's a coach.
That's not very stoic.
It's like the nerdy guys calling themselves alpha males.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if there is if you want a prescription, like I realize guys want solutions. I'm trying to help you guys with book 5. You know, how do I learn game? How do I socialize myself? Well, there's aspects that you can improve upon. There's practices that you can do, but I'm not gonna give you a new religion. I'm not gonna give you some like salvation. You have to dig down and make that yourself. You have to find that for yourself as a person. Yeah. And yes, you have more opportunity in a red pill paradigm than you did in your old matrix that you were in.
And even if you wanted to, you couldn't. If you tell a guy how to live his life, you're going to tell him how to live the best life for Rollo Tomassi. You're physically unable to tell him any other way. And so when a guy gets that answer of what should his values be, he's going to end up living for you. So what's the difference then? If it's some thought that he picked up at the bar that promises to touch his dick once every 6 months, or the guy on YouTube who's a San Francisco 49ers fan?
Right. Actually,
simp for a girl, simp for Rollo, like whatever. He'll take your money, but
yeah,
fuck whatever.
I'll be happy to. You know what? And I'm not above giving you guys advice as far as counseling is concerned. And don't call me a coach, but I'll give you analysis.
Don't say that. They've been calling me a coach for a year.
I am not a coach. Don't look at me as a coach. I will never be Coach Rollo. Right? No, I'm an analyst. I'm an analyst, and I will analyze your situation, and I will give you the data, and you can use that to do what you need to. Right? It's like what is it when you get fired from a job and suddenly you become an analyst, or you become like you're suddenly become a contractor? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's me. Okay. Yes. So again, you make your own life. You get to build your own prescription, and that's good news, man. That is fucking great news, because you have better tools now with the red pill than you ever did before. Now the danger is falling back into this belief set, falling back into somebody else's belief set. And I'm not even just poking fun at like the white pill guys. I'm talking about guys who are like the success porn hustlers, the Tony Robbins of the world, the black pill nihilism. That's just as much a prescription as anything else. Tony Robbins, same prescription. White pill, prescription. MRA and MGTOW, prescription. TradCon, prescription. What are you going to use? The red pill data, the red pill, the Chilton Manual of Intersexual Dynamics, right? It's the
I love that metaphor, by the way.
The handbook, right?
Yeah.
This is the data for you to use that. So use it to your advantage. And you know what? all kinds of guys have been doing it and saving their own lives for at least the 20 years that I've been doing all of this. So that's the really good news. You want optimism? Here it is. You can use the red pill to save your life. That's the best fucking thing I can think of right now.
But it's all on you.
But yeah, it is. It comes down to it. What do you got going on, Ryan?
Dude, I'm pushing the second channel hard. Okay,
so I know.
Yeah, well, that's good. This one, it's just like it's more casual. Do some gaming in the background, just so we got something like you said before. The two people stare forward and talk to each other as opposed to staring at each other.
Yeah. Are you still doing Among Us? Because
I wouldn't mind getting that. We're a bit past the prime, but I'm totally up for it again if we can get it on your iMac. But
I would do it.
So my last video, there's the trading hall of masculine excellence. The Hole of Glory and the grand memorial for John Anthony in there. So I'm kind of like taking the piss out of this super serious manosphere nonsense, just some Minecraft stuff. It's fun.
Cool.
But the guys like it because in the chat they're literally just sitting there swapping notes with each other, and I'm just the backdrop for it. So it's great. We're hitting up to our first 1,000 subscribers, and then the second channel, dude, I walked all the way back from Red Meat. I've got a new series now I call Mids Watch, and it's literally going over the last 7 years of like guys swapping notes and like serious shit. One was a guy who has the perfect life in every way except for his wife won't give him blowjobs. Like, how does he deal with that situation? Or this other guy, he's married to Lucifer's daughter, and how does he deal with that situation? There's like real shit like that in there, to the point that I'm pretty sure they're all going to be demonetized. So any support you guys want to give is absolutely great, but it's perfect because it's all real scenarios. And I have not seen a video go by yet where any less than 10 people are like, I literally had this happen to me, and I wish you'd brought this out 2 years ago before I got fucked. So it's pretty awesome to see, like, old school, back in the day stuff. I'm loving it.
Cool. I am doing my clips channel. As I mentioned in the very beginning of this show. So subscribe to that if you have not already. I know I'm going to get a shit ton of subscription notices in my inbox. I got to go turn that off. But that is the clips channel you guys have been demanding for so long. They're going to be anywhere between 8 to 12 minutes. Maybe by the way, Metal Joe, it's the first link that's in the description already. So it's right there. Just go click on that. You'll see it, or go to my channel. It's the first one that's there. You can't miss it. So the clips channel is coming up this week while we're releasing episode 2 of Savo, the one that I'm in. So yes, and so you'll get to see my Oscar-winning performance. You guys I've only shown like very like 30-second clips of about a 2 minute and 20-second interaction that I'm a part of in that episode. And also make sure you go watch episode 1 before you watch episode 2, because then you'll be able to track and get what's going on. Episode 3 begins shooting next week too, so we're working on that. Any donations you give me through PayPal, or you go and directly donate to Kevin Savo, it goes all into that project. So you're helping fund Red Pill content, right? Or creative endeavors that are like Red Pill aware, if nothing else. So that's why you get things like Thought Mommies in the Club, which is also actually taken off. Thank you guys for promoting and pushing that one so much. I think it's a great song too. So you can pick that up on Spotify. And this is just what I'm doing. Like, I feel like I'm the Gene Simmons of the Red Pill now. It's like I'm going to promote like independent bands and rappers and movies and stuff now. But I guess I'm a producer / consultant, I guess, for helping out Kevin, and I plan to do more of it. So, and that's awesome. That's just one project. Oh, those are 2 projects, like the rap video and that. There's other projects that are in the works too that I can't really talk about right now. But we got other irons are in the fire with that as well.
And your own band, and your own YouTube channel, and your own book.
Right. So, and then book 5 is coming out. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of August. So people wanted a time frame. I'm giving you the time frame. If not sooner than that. It's actually come along very well. I'm actually just tightening it up right now, and I'm just adding a few little sections that I didn't have written already before. So book 5 on game, understanding game. I'm going to call it the Player's Handbook. Somebody said that you should go with that. I'm like, okay, why not? I'm still deciding whether I'm going to release it independently, or if I'm going to put it on Amazon right now. I might just put it on Gumroad for a little while for like my Patreon people, so people can get early access to it. And then after a while, I think I might put it on Amazon after a while. But
see, that's right, because you're kind of big enough a brand right now, you might not need the ecosystem.
I don't have to. Yeah, I've got 4 books already. I don't know if you heard. And then the 4th book is almost done with Audible. I've got this great reader. Trey is a good guy. I think he's got a relatable voice, particularly for this kind of material, because it's like I'm trying to reach a religious audience as well as a red pill audience as well. So I think it's coming along. We should have that by the beginning of September is what he's telling me. So that is definitely coming out very soon.
Nice.
And if you haven't picked up the other books, please do. You just go to my Amazon site. You can get all the links in the description. If you wanted to support this show, please do. Again, I'm funneling that money mostly into projects like Save a Hope. So there you go. I'm glad I can do that now. I'm glad I can help. I'm glad I can actually do something like significant and creative, and it's actually fun too.
Well, dude, you know what? They killed Star Wars. They killed He-Man.
Yes.
They killed Ninja Turtles. What else is left for guys?
We need Save a Ho. Save a
Ho Chronicles are all that's left.
Yes. Well, and I think what's funny is like if you go, and I hope this happens. It would be nice if it did, but I see what's happening is like I think that the popularity of like Thought Mommies in the Club, that content will find its way into other artists will pick up on that, and they'll start using that kind of same stuff because it resonates right now. And I've been saying this for God knows how long, for the last 4 or 5 years. Like if you create this content, people will be into it. Guess what? Surprise, surprise, they're really into it and they love this stuff. So go create. That I'm encouraging you to go do that yourself. So there you go. Yeah, they killed Doctor Who. They did kill Well, actually, the chick who played Doctor
Doctress Who.
Yeah, I was never into Doctor Who.
Me neither, but
could never get behind that. I know it's a British thing, but whatever.
I mean, once you miss the first couple seasons, you can't catch up.
Yeah,
you have to go back to 1956.
You gotta be like a real diehard like Doctor Who fan, I think, to get into that. I'm hoping they don't butcher Dune as much as I think they're going to butcher Dune.
Oh, but that's the thing. The matriarchy thing almost might work with it.
It has to, because that's actually like in this case, I would say that they'll probably take it to the nth degree. It will be like in the extreme of the.
Well, that's what Herbert did, though. The Bene Gesserit. What is that? But feminism to the nth degree.
Well, yeah, maximized. Yeah, exactly. I'm wondering how they're going to. I was talking to I forget what the guy's name is. One of the guys in the geek squad. He was talking about how where they were concerned about how they were going to treat the word jihad versus like the word crusade, because Herbert uses jihad a lot in that book. So we'll see what happens. And I'm less concerned about that than I am about how they're going to try to work in Paul Atreides. Spoiler alert, you probably, if you haven't read the book from 1964, his first wife, because he has 2 wives. He has Chani and he has the other chick.
That's right. Yeah, the Empress's daughter in that.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, if they kill the concubine part of that, that'll be weird.
Yes. So because that was part of the Fremen culture was concubines. So because I don't know if they'll work that in, but it'd be interesting to see how they do. So we'll see how it goes. All right, guys. I will talk to you later. Thanks for joining me, Ryan. Much appreciated.
No worries.
All right, guys.